this is it. Like, it's consistency is the key word too. I mean, how
we're
to,
live.
oh, hey, everybody. Woo.
Hey guys.
Reading.
Thank
This
y'all
is
for
it.
joining
Okay.
us. Thank you for your patience. Love seeing y'all here.
This is it. Okay.
Yeah, so we were just chatting it up a little bit before the show got started. Hey guys, hey Jeannie, Kira, Ken 44, Penny, Seaman Retention, Beacon Vixen, Kathleen, Aaron, Mary Hannigan, Susan, Peggy, Ichabod. Wow. Love you guys. Love you guys so much. So yeah, we were just kind of discussing some recent events, and if you have tuned into Miraculous Monday, you've kind of got an idea on some things that Marie has been going through, and just some more examples of that baptism of fire, clearing away everything that doesn't serve us, and that trusting that God is going to clear away. And it's going to be uncomfortable. That's kind of part of the process. It's going to be uncomfortable to clear away all that doesn't serve us, but it's our trusting and our knowing that God is only going to clear away what doesn't serve us and leave behind what brings us forward and what magnifies us and what brings us to that next level. So with that, Marie or Charlie, do y'all want to kind of get into that topic a little more in depth?
Since this is the book of Revelation, maybe it would be best if I just quickly synopsize and then went into it, and then Marie can speak to what she hears. So, really quickly, many of you will know from the Miraculous Monday show 2 days ago that Marie was just talking about this situation and sort of a culmination of events, and just sort of falling away within this expat community in Puerto Escondido in Mexico, and basically people just being offended by Marie left, right, and center, and some of the things that her kids have said, and then they've taken it upon themselves to watch some of Marie's videos, and they're offended by Marie's videos, and so, anyways, I received a message from Marie, and it's beautiful, because Marie's saying, Charlie, if you could just maybe help me a little bit just with grounding myself in this, because and this is exactly what Marie said, I just want to be on the right side of this and everything, and because I'm feeling that maybe, just maybe, I didn't need to be. I didn't need to say, because I did say that their party was debauchery, and just maybe, or maybe I went too far, and that is that my ego, and did I cause some of this, and am I feeling sort of bad about this right now, when I wake up in the morning, because I did something that was ungodly or unchristlike, and so that's so beautifully, just so beautifully innocent, honestly, how Marie presented that to me. And so what I said back to her was essentially this, and this is your ego, and this is your ego trying to win back another play at the game, by attempting to play upon the guilt that has been built up inside of us for ages and ages and ages, and the doubt. If you're still, not quite 100% doing the work all of the time, and you don't feel that connection to God all of the time, then there's just that tiny room for doubt, and then in the ego goes, and if you give it an inch, it takes a mile, and it just creates you're just inviting through that resonance. And so the first thing that ego always does is it creates a state of fear, because there are consequences, and my children may no longer have anyone to play with, and it would be nice for us to have at least some friends, or at least be on friendly speaking terms with these people. And we're now getting to a point where it's looking like our kids won't have anyone to play with, and we're not even going to be on speaking terms to really anyone. And then it's lack, and then it's fear, and then it's doubt, and then it's worry, and then all that does is that you are always a radio station. You always are. You're a radio station, and you just turn the frequency from FM to AM, and then you just tilted the receiver all the way down to the left, and you're at 610 AM talk radio, and you might as well just phone in to the local talk radio show and just get some horseshit advice from some shallow air breather. And that's the reality of this world, and that's how they get us there, and that's how they keep us there, is play upon our doubt, our weaknesses, which all comes from just not knowing. It's just that doubt, and then it's fear. And this is exactly what fear does to you. So it just took you from FM radio to AM radio, and that's bad enough as it is. That's bad enough as is. But what's worse is that you went from one end of the receiver board to the other end of the receiver board. So you went from 107.1 FM to 610 AM, and that's exactly going from Ajna to the Muladhara. You just went from the penthouse to the outhouse. And by the way, that's where that expression comes from. This is the penthouse. And that's why everybody, the rich people, they all want the penthouse suites in these apartment buildings, and the poor people live in the basements, which are called outhouses, penthouse to the outhouse, because they know it's all about the chakras. It's all about astrology. Again, there may not be very many millionaires that know anything about astrology, but you'll never meet a billionaire that wasn't completely obsessed with astrology, because they know it's everything, and it's all about this frequency. So you just have to stay strong in doing the work and be yourself. And of course, always, which is what Marie is, always do this through a righteous frequency. Do it through niceness. So when you're telling somebody that their party is debauchery, smile when you say it. No, it's that when you're doing so, you're doing so because it's the truth. And so I'm just going to end with this because it's important. I just want to be on the side of Jesus with this one. What would Jesus has done? Because we're taught so much that Jesus was forgiveness, and that Jesus was love and friendship. And it's like, no, and that's why we've decoded the Bible and the New Testament for you, to show you what Jesus was is one thing and one thing only. That's the big T, and that's truth. And everything that you need in your life comes through truth. So the New Age spiritualist community will say to you that it's all about light and love. Well, it is all about light, because light is God, and He is the creator. But you see, truth is light, and light is truth. They're one and the same. And so it's only through the knowing of truth that the light is revealed, and there is the love. It's waiting there for you. But if you don't have truth in your life, then you really don't have love. You have all kinds of false love, or love, and that's because it's built in truth. If you love to stay, you have to live in the truth. And that's the truth. So what would Jesus do? The truth. And if he wouldn't walk on eggshells. He would trod boldly. He would boldly go where no man has gone before. And that's because he went everywhere without ego. We go everywhere trailing a massive elephant in the room. We go everywhere trailing a massive lump. All in, that's the reference. The ball and chain is your ego. And that's what it is. It's just to boldly go where no man has gone before means without fear. And fear is the absence of ego. And that's right versus left. Cast thy net to the right. Jesus told the truth. Jesus was the truth. Jesus Christ is the truth, the light, and therefore the way of the world, because he told the truth. That's it. How anyone else reacts to that is up to them. And what did they do? In the literal story of Jesus Christ, the church tore him to bits, and the people on the streets were kind of like, yay, I guess. I don't want to get in bad with my religious elders, so yay. and this is the kind of world that we live in. But you have to be the lighthouse. You must be the light of this world. You must be the light of this world. And that's what I said to Marie. It's a shame because they do not see the light in your eyes. They do not hear the light in your voice. They do not hear, see, feel, taste, touch the light in the words that you choose and the grace with which that you give them. They don't see the light that are your two children that are so innocent and so pure and so rich with the abundance of God within them. They choose not to see any of these things. How is that your problem? How is that your issue? How is that your fault? Where did you make a mistake? And what they'll do to defend themselves, and this is for everyone in the chat and everyone listening to hear and really hear clearly, they'll always respond, you're the weirdo because you're 1 in 1,000 or you're 1 in 10,000 or you're 1 in a million. You're the weirdo because I'm like everybody else. So clearly, we're not the problem. You are. No, clearly you are the problem because our world is hanging by a thread. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows that everything is broke and that there are no answers. Politicians are just, in a standard form, they're just looking to continue the system. And nobody's talking about a massive change unless it's Trump and the Q team, and that's craziness. And you see the division, the divide lines everywhere because of this. And that's where we're at. Our world has become so satanic that when you cast the light, you're an outlaw, you're a rebel, you're a midnight rider, you're a renegade. Look at all of these songs by the Allman Brothers and Styx, the song, incredible big hit single, Renegade. That's the news is up, the jig is up, the news is out. They finally found who had it neat. Yeah, running on me. And that's it. You come back into this world as the light and they will fucking hunt you down because they're a bunch of Satanists. Oh, Charlie, that's so mean to say that. That's so mean. No, it's the truth. It's the truth. And I know they don't mean to be, but they are. What's your favorite show? Friends. Produced by pedophiles. Worse than pedophiles. Produced by people who are best friends with Jeffrey Epstein and spent their lives on Epstein Island hunting and eating and destroying children. Written by those people. Starred by those people. But it's everybody's favorite show. And it's just so great because they're all friends. And everybody's got their own truth. And they're all friends. And it's pure Satanism. And that's what you want your kids watching. And that's what you want your kids eating. And that's what you want your kids doing. You're a pair of rents. You're a pair of rents. Hand it all back over to the real parents, which is the mother and the father. Yeah, and the father. And you never a moment wrong. Marie, you're doing everything right. And the thing that you get is that little leftover piece of ego that is still trying to exist inside of you, that is saying, come back to my world, care about what they say. Yeah, then I got you again. I'm not going to let you down. You're sleeping with the enemy. That's where that phrase, it's all biblical. Everything is biblical. And the Bible taught you one thing and one thing only. Physiology, human physiology, more than anything you, left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain, right. That's all this is. Why is it so important? Because it determines in every single moment who you are. It does. Breathing. So we have yoga. that doesn't even teach breathing anymore. And that's the entire purpose of yoga, is to control your breathing inwardly and outwardly, to prepare you for meditation, right? But we live in that world. So, you know, it's just incredible. And all around us with some of the people that I've done shows with, and more every week, they're just getting further. People that have cut Colleen and I out of their loop because well, for whatever reason, but every single week, more and more sort of a satanic or Luciferian comments and agendas coming out in their work. And this is it. We are coming so close to the finish line, this crossover line, and you either get there and cross over, or you don't. And if you don't, then you're going to suffer while the rest celebrate. And this is that moment. You can this two sides. You have to cast your left or right. If you try to straddle from underneath you, because it is separating at such a fast pace now. And so people within our own community, these are people presenting information to you daily, weekly now, are just more and more stuff. Aleister Crowley and Luciferian agendas, and no, there's kindness. We are mankind. Just be kind. When somebody is doing something or saying something, to tell them that have this thing with kids, and it's nothing but candy, and nothing but pop, and nothing but sugar, and then it's nothing but little cow treats and stuff. That's fucking debauchery. Smile when you say it, but fuck, that's never wrong to tell the truth. How to do it like I do sometimes, but it's the truth. You never go wrong with the truth. Stay in the truth, and you're with Jesus Christ. Stay in kindness, and you're with God. It's the way, folks. It's the way, and you're never wrong. You're never wrong in being yours. And God sees you in every moment, because He's with you in every single moment. So He feels, He knows when you stay strong, the rewards are almost instantaneous. They're the most amazing things in you, soldiers. And you'll be rewarded strong in staying true, and staying pure to Jesus. So thanks for letting me bring this up. Just helps, Marie, because you're so special, and we love you so much.
Thank you, Charlie. I didn't get the last bit, but I really feel that this is so, what you just said, it's that sorting out. And I think when it comes down to it, it's can we accept our place? Like, can we accept that we're worthy of this incredible gift of miracles nonstop? And can we stop self-sabotaging and allowing that little 10% to come in? And it's, you always say that if you give it an inch, it takes a mile. And that's just what I find happens sometimes. The deeper we go into our own healing journey, that more and more levels are being expelled. I mean, it's like we've gotten so raw. We don't even have salt anymore. I mean, there's nothing going in other than light. And sometimes it's exposing what you shared about the light. It's exposing so much at the same time that I find myself still now and then going, oh my God, this is so intense. Like, what did I do to create this? And have I been unkind? And I don't think I've been unkind. I think I've been very loving. I think that, what's sad about some of it is that, I would have liked to have seen the story where it was like, oh my God, Marie, I totally get it. And like, let's go here. Let's keep digging around. And I think that what happens with so many people is that they wake up to a certain level and then that's it. Their ego gets like, that's where they stop. And this journey that we're going through in our family here is going all the way in and receiving the miracles nonstop. And I'm super grateful for this opportunity, because I think that, I'm 40, my kids are, so this is a defining moment for us. And we're going to rise. I know we are, and we already are. And there's already an abundance of blessings and miracles that are happening. It's just me really accepting that sometimes the truth is fierce. And, prior to this wake up call and prior to learning about how evil everything was, it just was kind of okay. But now that I know that, the people that created Friends, the things that they do in their, extracurricular activities, like that makes it not okay anymore. That makes things to a level where consistency is essential. And that's what I'm learning to embrace. And consistency is really just being honest. And so the truth hurts sometimes, and it's hard to be sometimes, at least for me, the person who says things. I think that's why, Charlie, sometimes you're like, I'm sorry, and Justin's like, stop saying that. But we're like, because you know that sometimes the truth is such an altering paradigm for people that they kind of like, they don't want it. And so it's you're mean or you're unkind, instead of really looking at what are we saying here. It's pretty simple. Thou shalt not kill. It's very simple. So if we're dealing, let's say, with the children, I think one thing that's really coming through for me, and all of you guys with little ones as well, and that have children in your life, it's like they can take the truth. Like they already know it. Actually, we're the ones teaching them how to unknow it. And that's what's rubbing me, is like my kids know what the truth is. And I want to nurture them to always know what the truth is, so that they're not like 40 and having to deal with like, wait, what, the earth is flat, or like, wait, what, I shouldn't eat eggs, I thought eggs were good for protein. Like, I'm really grateful that they're learning the truth right now. And I think that when people keep this narrative of everybody gets their own truth, when it comes to the kids, let them decide. But I think as the adults, we're the ones that have to stand in the truth. So it's like, yeah, honey, that is an animal. That is an animal. My son goes, would you eat a cat? Like, you gave me that joke the other day, like, and he's not even 5 yet. Like, he knows. So it's like, if we say that this is an animal, the child then gets to decide. Sure, you have free will. You can eat that. You can eat that. But do you want to eat an animal? And it's not judgment. It's nurturing. That's how the mother is. It's like, because if you do that, there's going to be a pang, because it's out of alignment with natural law. And that's what we're learning to embrace, like how to be natural. Like really, like that's because we've been so unnatural. We've been afraid to tell the truth. I've certainly had, eons of guilt. Let's just talk about guilt and my upbringing. And even now, it's like, I know that ego loves guilt. Ego loves guilt in you or somebody else, doesn't care. As long as someone's feeling guilty, ego's winning. And that's what we're breaking through from. And I know that I've had a few dips back into those feelings of despair and helplessness and all of that. And that, guys, I just know it's not real. And I think that's why it pisses me off so much, because I'm like, black. I don't like this vibe. And the easiest way to come back up, I went to yoga last night. I took 600 conscious breaths. I did about 7 handstands and 3 forearm balances, and did some really strong breath holds. And I walked out of there feeling so much better. And this thing can use some space. I think that we really need to give it some space. And that's what usually brings me out of my reverie, is some kind of just thing. But it's all an opportunity. And I thank you guys for holding the space for me, all of you too, in the chat. And that's my riff. Let's just accept the fact that we're worthy of greatness, of excellence, of all of God's beautiful gifts. And the only ask is that we're consistent.
Yeah. And it's not always easy, and it's not supposed to be easy, because we're refining and we're letting go of all of these layers of shit that we've just accumulated for a long time. And it's not easy to let those go, but that's what Revelation is about. It's about defining that difficult choice and making that difficult choice, expanding on the power that unlocks and the abundance that unlocks, the rewards that unlock when we do make the right choice. But it also defines very well what happens when you make the wrong choice. And this is our choice. This is the defining moment that we get to make. So with that, I think it's a good time to jump right into the book. Did you have anything else to add, Charlie, before we read chapter 8?
No, I thought I again get with Marie is honesty, and if you're honest, you're going to make it to heaven. I guarantee. It's the way. If you're kind to people, you're going to make it to heaven. I guarantee. And you don't really need me along the way at all. You just need those guides. So just be honest in every moment, be kind in every moment, and everything is going to work itself out for you. But you do have to be strong, like Justin said, because the vampires are everywhere and they want you at their level. And that's the thing. You ever notice that, folks? Always notice this about people in your family, friends, community, organizations, whatever it is. They always will only accept you if you come to their level. And there's a reason, and that's because they cannot rise. They can't rise. So you see, it's pure mechanics. This is pure. That's the incredible thing about the Bible, is that it's the real science. It's the real mathematics. It's the real science. This is real mechanics. And it just simply works this way, and you haven't been taught it. And this is what magnetism versus electricity is. It's all left brain, right brain, magnetism versus electricity, and they can't rise, and they won't rise, and they're susceptible to Satanism because they constantly are falling down. What does electricity do? It's a transverse wave. Transverse are temporal waves, and they go down, down, down to the ground, to the mother. And if the mother's not there to ground them, then they have no chance of rising. And that's why, what do we teach? Justin teaches, what do we teach? Always saying the same thing. If you want to change your ride, you must embrace the mother. You must look at Mother Earth and say, you are the light, you are the wisdom, you are the truth, you are the way, and I'm going to go on this journey to discover Jesus, and I'm going to go on this journey to discover God, but I'm going to do it through Mother, and I'm going to take your hand. If you do that, you'll never have another problem in the world. Embrace the real family that exists for you. And they're not going anywhere, ever. The sun is not a nuclear furnace that's going to blow up one day. It doesn't work that way. The sun is your pineal gland. It is a portal to God. Look at the sun. Stare at the sun. It's the light that you have to practice looking at to get ready for what's coming. And then smoke some incense. But it's not smoke some incense inside of you. It's just, it's send smoke signals. Smoke the incense. See, they all twist it around. So, Revelation chapter 8, here we go. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven. And silence do good, by the way. Silence do good. About the space of half an hour. Now that's really weird, hey? What a weird passage to open up chapter 8. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven. About the space of a half an hour. They tell time in heaven? That's really weird. But at 30 minutes. Wow, that's cool. So I wanted to start because we're not going anywhere until we understand what's being said here. So I want Justin and Marie to try and crack what is being said here. So you know what the seventh seal is. The seventh seal is the crown, which automatically turns on when you activate the portal, the pineal, in the third eye chakra, the Church of Philadelphia. This magic occurs and the seventh seal opens. There was silence in heaven. Now I know both of you know what that means. Police of half an hour. Both of you. Okay.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up a good bit, Charlie. It's hard to understand what you're saying. Did you want us to just interpret
Did you
that?
catch what I was? Yeah, actually the half an hour.
Okay. Marie, do you have anything on that?
I mean, I like it literal. Sit still and meditate for 30 minutes to change your frequency.
Yeah. Could very well be.
I'm sure there's something deeper, but I kind of like that too.
Well, I know that I think we've talked about hour before being like So there was silence in heaven. So it's definitely talking about meditation. And within the stillness and silence, it's often referenced the tomb and the 3 days, 3.5 days that Jesus was in the tomb, which is also the 3.5 days of the chrism oil journey. So, and I feel like we've talked about hour being a week before, like 7 days. So half an hour would be that 3.5 day time span potentially. The time in the tomb, the time in the silence. It's kind of
But potentially, but again, our always back to ours, our Horus is so this goes back to Egypt, and so Horus is just a play on, it's an anagram for hours. And so one who becomes lost in time is one who is the master of time and wears the crown of Saturn, not the crown of Kronos. So the crown of Kronos is the false Saturn, which is Satan, and the crown of Jesus Christ is the righteous Saturn. So Saturn is the seventh and highest energy. So that would be the seventh chakra. And that's how it works. Jupiter represents the sixth, which is the third eye, which, by the way, Jupiter also represents the Father, the Creator. And notice how the Sun, Saturn, is higher than God. And that's because God, who has can't exist unless he had no ego. So there is no ego at all with the father or the mother. That's why they constantly are turning the other cheek for us, because they have no ego. And so the whole point of this is they want you, Marie, literally to become the light of the world. They want Justin literally to become the light of the world. They wanted their child, Jesus Christ, to become the light of the world and exalt this light of the world higher than them. Because that's how the two makes the one, 21, which creates the three, Trinity, which is family. And that's how the family works, where we exalt the child within us, which is what you and Danny are doing with your two beautiful, precious children. You're teaching them the right way, and you're allowing them to exalt, and you're both recognizing that you're also a pair of wrens, and that their true actual parents are the father and the mother, and that if you're not aiding them to get there, wow, right, that's Satanism 101. You're not helping them to get there. Wait a minute, they're mine. I'm gonna, and then it's you're taking your children hostage, and you're holding them hostage from God, and it's like, yike, this can get ugly in a hurry. So about the space of an hour is really referencing Horus, and Horus is this a man who is inside of time, and you are the master of time. And then also just look at the word hour, and it's H hour, and H is the eternal A, and it's all God. And what is, and Indians agree, and that is that the space.
Charlie, we're not getting it. We're not getting what you're saying.
Okay, hold on for just a second. Okay, now hopefully that will be better. Does that sound a little better, Justin?
Yes.
Okay, so look at the word hour, which is H hour. So it's our H, and H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, and an H is silent. So do you get this? What does the passage say? And when he had opened the 7th seal, when he opened the crown, when he wore the crown, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. So the hour, this half an hour, is this reference to silence, because that's what an hour is. It's the H hour, which is the silent hour. An hour is us, which is the family. So then this is the Trinity. And so 8 is the breath of God, which is eternity, which is life, which is the ether. And so this 30, about half an hour, the 30 minutes or half an hour, that's how long you hold your breath. That's how rarely you take another breath. And this is what you will eventually transform yourself to the further you journey down this straight and narrow path. Because there's no other way to get on this path if you don't start eating properly, and if you don't start changing the thoughts you take by the breaths that you do or don't take. So it's all about breathing. So this passage is basically saying that to get there, to get to the doorstep of heaven, you have to be in meditation. And that when you enter within, nary a breath is taken for about a half an hour. Nary a breath is taken for half an hour, because it is pure stillness and pure silence in the glory of God, because you have become one with God. And there is no breathing with God. You're past that. There's just is. And that's what remembrance or references get busy with, the isness, not the business. And the isness is the now. And when you go to the now fully, there's not even breath. So this is a key. This is a very, very powerful key to learn from, which is that as you go further down the pathway, even your breaths will become less and less. And remember what we said about food. So the further you go down, it'll just be eating fruit. So you'll truly become what you are, which is a frugivore. And then you won't even like pulp slows you down. So you'll just have the juice of the fruit. And then you'll go, but I'm really partial to orange juice. And so you'll just only be drinking orange juice. And this is this funnel. It's a funnel that leads you to the monadic point, the monadic circle. And the reason being is because eventually you're practicing weaning yourself off of any crutches, and all that you need is God. And God is stillness and silence, which means that there's not even breath. So when you get there, when you do this work and you the pineal and you wear the crown, for nary 30 minutes, for nary half an hour, will you even take a breath. And then the second time you do it, it might be an hour. And for the third time, it might be 90 minutes. And this is where we're headed. This is the path that we're on. And I don't like to say too much too soon, because I don't want to scare people away from this incredible gift and this incredible journey. But it is a complete transmutation. We're talking about a complete change, a turnabout of what we were when we started to what we can and will be. And so I hope everyone understands and accepts, because I just don't want to overwhelm you too much. It's the same thing with the sacred sex, and still not having started that series. We don't have time to do it, but it's so deep. It's so sacred. It's so deep. If you go too fast too soon, you can fry circuits, and we don't want to do that. So, but it's a very important passage. This is what we're talking about in heaven. God, stillness, silence, where there's not even breath. And remember, then there's no filters on the light. And you have to have a new wineskin, because if you put new wine into an old wineskin, it will contaminate the wine. And it's the same thing with us. We have to be fully transmutated before we accept the new blood. And what's the new blood? Which comes from the cloister, the claustrum within us. The claustrum produces all of your new blood. And what is that new blood? It's magnetic blood, which is eternal blood, and that's eternal life. And if you take it too soon, it will destroy the vessel with which you're trying to hold it. If you try to hold light in darkness, it will destroy darkness. You just need to look at it that way. Until you are light, you're not ready for these advanced levels. And that's okay, because you got nothing but time. Don't let them teach or tell you anything different. But that's what this is all about, is preparing yourself. So the first time that you connect to God and you cross over and you illuminate the crown by activating the pineal, nary a breath for 30 minutes. Wow. But Charlie, that's impossible. Oh, well, if you think so, it's up to you. If you want to think, you go right ahead and think that that's impossible.
I just want to chime in. I'm so glad you, wow, there's so many in the chat too that are going, wow, 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 because I've often felt like if I get really, really still, like I feel like I stop breathing, and then I think I need to start breathing again. But now I feel like I'm good. Like this is actually happening. It's not, I don't think it's 30 minutes, but I don't know how long it is. I'll just feel like things are so quiet, and I wonder, is the body still, like, I don't know what's happening. And sometimes I'll feel my arms go numb, like everything will, or like I don't have a body, or like I'm the air or something like that. I guess it's starting to happen. I mean, we all have these kind of mystical experiences at times, but thank you for the breath thing. So that's right. Like if I find myself pulling out of breath, then I don't have to say, okay, start breathing again. I can just stick with it, right?
Absolutely. And anytime that you guys want me to tackle, because it's important, this difference between or what dreams are. And just notice how the cabal and the mainstream, they go on and on and on about dreams. There's entire sections in bookstores about dreams. If you're dreaming, you're still not fully asleep. You're still partially awake. And that's all that the dream world is. That's why dreams are things that have happened to you in some shape, fashion, or form. And that's why most dreams, not all, but most dreams are negative experiences, scary experiences, because you're not sleeping. You're partially awake, and you're in your left brain. You're shallow breathing, and you're in your left brain, and this is what happens when you've slowed the mechanism down far enough that this what is called the dream state will kick in. But it's just your imagination, but it's your imagination in the left brain. If you were truly asleep, and I mean gone, then you don't dream. I don't dream. I don't. Colleen absolutely knows this. I don't dream. I astral travel. I get taken places of which I have no say in, and they're never bad. They're never scary. There could be moments that I interpret as potentially scary, but that's me. But this is the difference, and it needs to be taught to people. So when you learn control breathing, and when day in service to God and God's creation, so you're serving your family, and you're serving you're serving nature, and you're very tired at the end of the day, and you fall into a deep and righteous sleep where you take like one deep breath and you're just out like a light, and you're so far. That's when the soul can drop a little curare into the body. And that's why if you come out of these experiences too quickly because somebody's trying to wake you up or something, your physical body, and trying to wake you back, there's always a gap or a delay getting back in, and that's because your physical body literally has been they liken it to curare. It's paralyzed, so that the soul can always return back into the body, and that's what needs to happen. The soul returns to the seat, and then the body awakens through a massive release of adrenaline, and then you just up and you're going right away, and what is it and who did what, and you're back into the carnal world again. But this is what happens if you properly sleep. If you properly are in sleep, which is the letting go, then you're in your right brain. And when you're in your right brain and the mechanism is off, then you're taken places. And they're all beautiful, they're all wonderful, they're all for you, and they're all designed for you. It's all about you and your journey, and their messages and their comms and their gifts and their treasures. But if you're dreaming, you're not fully asleep. Don't kid yourselves. You are not fully asleep. You think you're sleeping because you taught yourself that's what sleep is. People say, I don't really sleep. I just toss and turn all night. Good answer, because you're not really sleeping. You're tossing and turning. And that's because you're a shallow breather and you're in your left brain. And that's what the ego gives you. Hell on earth. And that's what most people's dreams are. Hell on earth. And so it's all about this breathing. It's all about this breathing.
Yeah, and it's important to know. I mean, that is a huge topic that's pushed. Like, and again, when there's a big topic that's pushed in the mainstream, you've really just got to question it. It should be a red flag. If you see people with books and books everywhere on it, like, there's something wrong about it. And unfortunately, that's just the way that we've got to deal with this false fake world, is just identify those kind of things and move past them so that we can get to the truth.
And Hollywood movies. I think there was one Hollywood movie that kind of touched a little bit on astral travel, but then they turned it into kind of a scary thing. But virtually every other, it's dreams. You know, think of the movie Inception. And that's Christopher Nolan, right? So Christopher Nolan, a lot of people think that's one of the best movies ever made, and that's dream world. And so what's going on in the dream world? People are hijacking your dreams, and then it's a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream, which is what Edgar Allan Poe was talking about as well. And that's what Poe was referencing, is that you've fallen into the trap of thought. And this is what happens. Then it's a world within a world within a world. You don't know what's real. And the sad thing is, and I don't want to, I don't even want to try to explain that too much or too well, because I don't want to scare people into this. But for the vast majority that are alive right now, they don't even know who they are or where they are. And it's like they're like those characters in those movies, or like Inception. They don't even know what's real. They have no idea. They don't know, because they don't have a life. They don't have a reality to go to. So everything is just a dream to them, and it's just like a rotten dream to them, and they go from dream to dream to dream. And this is literally becoming real, because this is what the cabal has been working to create. And so it helps, because they have to keep us in a low vibration. They have to toxify us. So the food is all purposeful, the music is all purposeful, the movies are all purposeful, because it's all preparing us to be in this dream state where you literally, and you're not sleeping properly. Look at how number one problem seller of pharmaceutical pills and stuff are to help people to try and sleep and whatnot, because people aren't sleeping, and you're in a dream world. And like I say, I hesitate to explain it too far, because if I did, I think it would scare the living bejesus out of people.
More than, the other stuff. I don't know. I think this group can take it, Charlie. We like to burn down with you.
Yeah, or cast your net to the right. I mean, the reality is that for a lot of people, they are living in Inception. And that's all that it is people have hijacked their dreams through television, through celebrity, stardom, through social media, through government, through rules, through laws, through school, through monetary money system, debts, mortgages, payments, and then you there's no you, and you are literally lost in a dream world, and it's scary, because for some of them there's no getting out, and so when we come along, we become the devil incarnate to them, because we're the light, and they can't handle the light when they are nothing but darkness. You are the light. The true essence of you is the light. But to be the light, you must be you. You must be you. Damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. And so that's what I'm hinting at is this. It literally comes true that people literally are lost in nothing but a dream. And like Justin said, look at dreams, music, movies, books. They dominate because they want you in a dream world. A dream world is your left brain, and it is a stupor, a drunken stupor.
Yep. All right. You want me to keep reading chapter 8? You're muted, Charlie.
Yeah, you go ahead. Just go right through the remaining 12 verses.
Okay. So starting with verse 2, and I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much more incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and were followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters, because they were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened. And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I, behold, and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound.
So tell me how you guys are feeling after hearing all of that, because it starts off so auspicious, and then it just seems very, very, very dark. So take your time and see if you can process. Now, here's a big key. If you haven't done your etymology, sensors are those little typically brass or copper plates that are for that's right, and they are devices that are designed to hold the incense and to smoke it. And so the smoking of it is not for you to ingest smoke. The smoking of it is to smoke. And then it's that fragrance. It's the fragrance that encourages you to be inside the temple. But if you use the wrong incense or the wrong fragrance, then you can go on a bad ride. What you put in is what you get out. So we'll just start with that, with those sensors. That's right. And so I'll let both of you just sort of walk through it. really there's 12, really there's about 7 passages in a row, and they're telling a little story that's very important here.
Well, I mean, just generally, it seems like this is opening the 7th seal, so we're becoming fully activated in a sense, and the and it seems to become a little bit more almost violent in a way, because it's once we're fully activated, there's no room for the deception, there's no room for the lies, there's no room for any of it that is not of God. And so given that the Bible is an allegory between the right and the left brain, all that's being burned up by these angels, the 4 angels, is all that is of thought, all that is of the left brain, all that is of the deception. So it's just kind of defining the different, I mean, because they're 4 angels, I imagine this has to do with the fourfold nature of man, and likely is related to the 4 horsemen that we covered earlier, and probably tied to them in some degree. But deeper than that, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I mean, Justin, that is it, entirely. So you wanna dance, you wanna dance with God, then everything's on the line here. Everything's at play. If you want to dance the dance with God. So what this is all about, I'm just going to write this word out, and I was just drawing a little diagram here as well. And let me just put the word in. And this is what you're looking at. So you said that there's 4 angels, and this must have something to do with the fourfold nature of man. For sure it is, because there's the cross, and then this is the Eden, the Pingala being drawn back up, because this process is called upheaval. Now, what's the connotation? What's the connotation of the word for both of you of upheaval?
It's like you're purging, you're bringing up, you're getting rid of, detoxing, that kind of thing. You're muted, Marie.
Upheaval feels to me like when you vomit out your falsity or about anything that's not right, the upheaval. It's like the incense in this passage is provoking that upheaval. It's like circulating around all of the parts that need to come up. The sun was smitten in the 3rd part of the moon. It was like, just the parts of us that we don't need anymore, that need to go.
Yeah, very, very, very good, both of you. Very, very good. And again, look at these key words here, okay? So, upheaval, heave. What is to heave? Exalt upwards. What is a hearth? It is the top part of the fireplace. It is the above. It is the above of the fireplace. Head. Where is the head located on you? In all cases, the head is above. And heap is to make a mound by placing items and more items above, atop. So everything about upheaval is to go up, is to rise. And so they've kind of tried to teach us that upheaval is kind of a scary word or a bad word. And there's earthquakes, and then there's great torments, and the foundations of the very earth can shake itself. Yeah, because it's you. Because it's you, and you're transmutating the wineskin. Because if you're going to hold the wine, and the ultimate wine is pure light, is pure light. And if you're going to be the vessel, what ultimately, if you look at the etymology or the root of censer, it's a vessel. It's a vessel to carry. In this case, to carry the fire, the smoke of the fire is the censer, but it is a vessel. You have two vessels, and that's why you're the captain. You should be the captain of your own vessel, the captain of your own ship, because you have two vessels. And that's why everything they do is maritime admiralty law, because it all relates back to the fact that of the body and of the mind, the two vessels, and that you're supposed to be the captain of the ship. And that's why you have to be Captain Kirk and boldly go where no captain has gone before, and that's two worlds. You know, most everyone is struggling to try to be the captain of this vessel, and nobody is even entertaining trying to be the captain of that thing or whatever. It's just a mess. It's a nightmare, and your physicality is a total mess and a nightmare. And then after a while, it's such a mess and a nightmare, you capitulate and you just hand everything over to the cabal, and they'll do it for you, and it's far easier. And then everybody has their own truth, and it's beautiful. And so don't get in my face and don't get in my way with your truth. You've got your truth, Marie, and I've got my truth. Okay? Now, come on, kids, let's sit down, open colas, and have your Doritos. And then if you're really good, I'll give you some candy canes as well. See, that's our truth, Marie. Don't judge us. Stop being so judgmental. You know, be more like Jesus. Jesus was all love and no judgment. What Bible were you reading? Clearly not the one. The hell's going on? And I just feel like vomiting. But you get out there, and it's worse than just. So how do you feel? Blah. Sorry, I'm on you again. I don't know why that happens. Every time become. It's just ugly. It's just ugly out there. So when you rise, there are minutes, and the ground shakes, and the lights flash, and because all sorts of things on, because you have to transform the vessel into being able to carry the light. And so it's a process, and miracles are occurring, and you're being shaken at your roots, and that's all that's being said. So this passage, the reason I wanted to just do all of this is because this passage is used to scare the shit out of people about the Bible and God. Just be careful about this God person. Just trust us and come to church every Sunday, because this is scary. And that's what they do, and that's what they use these passages for, to scare the daylights out of you. No, this is you saying goodbye. Goodbye, church. Goodbye, religion. Goodbye, pastor. Goodbye, priest. Goodbye, evangelist. Goodbye, all of that crap. Don't need it. Don't need it. I'm doing it my way, the right way, the highway, the up way, the evil way, to the head, to the heart. And, you know, like, just look at these words. Heave, and if you add an N, it's heaven. And hearth, if you take the H away, it's the earth. The Father and the Mother. The Father in heaven, which is Father and the Mother. And then, you know, the head, which is at the top, and you have to heap things to get to the head, to the hearth, which is heaven. Wow. Wow. So don't let people go.
Even the hear and the hearth, just to hear, to be able to hear above the head.
Yeah. And if you take the word hear, and if you really hear, here, which is in the now, then you're in the physical with heart. And then you're alive and you're awakened because you got heart. Some people don't have heart. You got heart, kid. You got heart. Because you heard in the physical and you became aware that it's all about the breath. And then there's the heart. And that's how your language works. It works one letter at a time, and it tells a story. And it always tells one story. It always tells one story. And there's the building of a story. He wanted God and rose. So H-E-A-R. He wanted God, A, and R, rose. Within the physical, within himself, he rose from this temple to this temple, and he heard the breath of God, the silent breath of God, because he was in meditation. And he gained the hearth. And what do we decorate the hearth with? Pine cones and Christmas light, Christmas lights. We put, yeah. And a cornucopia of fruits, and a cornucopia. Yeah, that's what we put on our hearth. So don't let this passage scare you at all. Blow your trumpets loudly, purely, 7 trumpets for the 7 seals, for the 7 chakras, and smoke the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar. So this is the baptism of fire, and cast it into the earth. There were voices and thunderings and light and an earthquake. Right, because he cast it into the earth. What's in the earth? The 7 hellish energies. Whoa. There's going to be some voices and thunderings and lightnings and earthquake when you bring light to the darkness. You better believe it. And the 7 angels, which had the 7 trumpets, prepared themselves to sound, getting prepared. What do you have to do to prepare yourself to sound? Right? It's all an allegory. Think, tell me, what's the one word? What do you do to prepare yourself to sound? You're just about to do this great saxophone solo, and it's like 1 minute and 30 seconds, and you take a huge breath. You take a huge breath. That's what it's saying. Everything. It's about breathing. And the 7 angels prepared themselves to sound. Breathing. Deep breathing. And the first angel sounded, Muladhara. And there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. Of course. And they were cast upon the earth. Aye. And the third part of the trees were burnt up. That's the other aspect of this. We'll just talk about this in a sec. What is being meant by this third part? The third part of all the green grass was burnt up. Then the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire. So now this is upon the earth. So a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, with the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and which had life died. And the third part of the ships on the sea were destroyed. And a third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as if it were a lamp. And it fell upon a third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of the waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Have any of you ever tasted absinthe, the alcohol made with wormwood, or if you've ever had any kind of healing medicine made with wormwood? Wormwood is incredibly bitter, incredibly bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so that a third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. So, does anyone want to try that before I continue? What's this third business? That is referenced 7 times, by the way. 7 thirds.
Well, I mean, 3 is the child, which is us. So the third would be having that activation of both the mother and father and that matrimony, and activating us as the child as the third, cleansing with the baptism of
That's
fire
right,
of that.
exactly. So what's being burnt away, and what's being washed away, and what's being tormented away, and what's exactly, Justin, exactly.
So yeah, it's just our burning away process, and burning away all that doesn't serve us, burning all the thoughts, getting rid of our ego, or at least taming our ego, to the point where it's not controlling us.
Yes, and so could we literally basically say that what's happening in this process is this transmutation of the wineskin, right? This is what's happening here. A third is being destroyed, and a third is filled with blood, and it's like a third of the mountain fell into the sea, and the sea fell with blood, and a third of the fish in the sea, or the creatures in the sea, thus died. And it's all about a third dying so that the 2/3 can go on. and a third is 33. What? Wait a minute. That's a clue. A third is 33. How many vertebrae in the spine? 33. So the 66 can go on. And it's all clues. It's out of the physical body and into this vessel. So it's Captain Kirk letting go of an angry kid on Earth, and trying to fight authority because he wanted to be free, was getting himself into trouble, and he said, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to cross over and boldly go where no man has gone before, and I'm going to go to the 66, and I'm going to enter the prize and receive God. And that's exactly what's being said, because the third is 33, and what's left over is 66 to give us the 99, which is 18, and 1 and 8 is 9, which is divine, and that's what it's all about. So this book, beautifully, I'm just so proud of both of you. You're both just so sharp and so awakened and so aware. That's not easy. That's not easy stuff for anyone to get, and you guys did it, and I'm very, very proud of you. So don't let this book scare you. This is the transmutation of the wineskin, and this is all in stages. So this is the first time you've done this, and that's why it's very tumultuous the first time that you've done it, and it can send mixed signals to you when you turn the light on for the first time, because so much is changing inside of you. And that's why I try to help so much with the allegories for like Star Trek, and some people may roll their eyes at that, but it's a good allegory for you to really see this in a way that makes sense and won't scare you. To boldly go where no man has gone before is to be the captain of this ship, not just this ship. And then from here, it will take care of both worlds. 2 worlds is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 21 is 3. 2 and 1, mother, father, is 3. And that's what this is all about, is we, the child. And mom and dad, mom and dad love us so much. Where do they put us? What is literally happening in this third ventricle? You are the third ventricle. You are the optic thalamus, which is here, and the father is the pineal gland here, and the mother is the pituitary gland here, and they're like supporting you, and you shine brightly. You are the light of the world. You are the lighthouse. They love you so much, they put you to the forefront. And all it takes is a fortnight. All it takes is a fortnight. And then you get her. And you can only get him if you get her together. So that's great. I love that chapter so much. Most people just don't even read it. They just run past it because they're afraid of it. And by the way, that's why there are 13 verses. This is the 12 plus 1. This is Jesus Christ and the 12 disciples. And this is the transmutation from Jesus Christ to Christ Jesus, the Christed one. And that's why there's 13.
Yeah, and just to note, people's interpretations of this book, and the literal kind of trying to interpret this book, and that's where the fear mongering comes in. That there's going to be all of these horrible disasters and blood raining from the sky and all sorts of things like that. So it's just always important to remember that this book was never meant to be taken literally. It was never meant to be taken that, and that's why Jesus says over and over and over again. That's why he speaks in parables, because that's the whole point of this book, is to be read allegorically, to interpret and take within, because it's about our journey, it's about our story, and when you take it literally, you're always going to be led astray, and that's the whole reason why they teach it literally, is to get you down that path, to be able to reinforce fear and to misinterpret and take it the wrong direction. So just remember that as we go through this book and you're reading it, it's not literal. It's not supposed to be literal.
Beautiful. And now we're going to go into chapter 9. And wow, this is such a treat. So Justin, do you want to read?
Sure. Marie, do you want to switch off? Do you want to read?
Sure. I just wanted to chime and say one quick thing, though, if I can, that the breath aspect of this reminds me of the willingness it takes to go on this journey, and to also know that God is love just by looking at nature. So like hummingbirds, flowers, things like that. I think that if there's a literal, the people that are having those issues, when I read this today with you guys, for me, it felt like the big inhale before playing the trumpet was knowing that there was a harmony happening, that let's just say the angel wasn't necessarily the one that was going to play, but the breath was going to play the music. So there was that ether and sound, that father and mother as well there. And that the willingness to know that wherever it's going is to the light and to the good, as long as we continue to shed the layers and let the grass be burned and let it all friggin' fall apart, because that's what I'm gathering has to happen for us to walk this path and to recreate 100% different than what this false system has created. So chapter 9. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by the reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto the horses prepared unto battle. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates, and it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots, of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter.
Yeah, just keep going.
And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had a trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three was the third part of the men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which is issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts.
Great job, Marie, because that's not an easy passage to read, and you did fantastic. Thank you. Does anyone does anyone want to touch that?
I'll,
Go for
I'll,
it, Jeff.
I'll give it a whirl. I mean, I really love just every passage I read, just coming back to that central story. This is left brain, right brain, and really just trying to see it from that perspective. This is left brain, right brain. This is our story of how to deal with the left brain and grow past it. So I see the locusts that are given the power as scorpions. Those are kind of like wandering thoughts that plague us and keep us rooted in that left brain world. And the fact that they're tormenting for 5 months is significant, of the 5 in-body chakras, the 5 physical senses, to keep us in that space of suffering in the body. It doesn't kill us because it's not literal and it's not physical in that sort of sense, but it is tormenting when we stay in that sort of the thoughts are always just stinging us. They're tormenting us. They're always there. So that's kind of the larger perspective I got out of that, and then it gets really complicated, and I have no idea what what all the rest is alluding to, but that's kind of the general take of what's being said.
Yep, that is. It is, and you did great in the explaining of it as well. Marie, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I want to know about the scorpions, because how many times did we hear scorpions? Was it 5 times? I don't know. I didn't count them.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any like astrological representation of like Scorpio and that sign.
And distinguishing the king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit.
Yeah.
And then the 2 names, the one from Hebrew and the Greek. I'd be interested to have more on that one. There's just so much here. I'm not sure I get it, other than when I was reading it, I felt a lot of movement inside me.
Yes, as you're supposed to.
I really liked how it said the 3 times. Like, I felt like there was a lot that was relating to what happens now too. Like there was like this cue thing with the 5 months was in my head. So
Yeah.
what do you have?
It is, because this is all about, like, yeah, like what's going on right now is all about this judgment day, but it's you. So again, it would help things immensely if when you read the Bible you saw yourself as this more so than this. Because what you don't realize is that what this is a complex set of circuits that make up this. That's why Tesla said everything is E, energy, therefore frequency, F, and vibration or pulses, depending on electricity or magnetism. But everything is energy. So then everything is therefore frequencies. Therefore, if you read the Bible this way, you would begin to understand it far more readily than you would if you're trying to read it this way. Because we haven't been taught the truth, and people don't see ourselves as what we truly are. So when you go through this spring cleaning, it's all about Passover. This is what the year is all about, is the leading up to the 40 days of Lent. Take no thought for your life. And then the 3 days of miracle, or the 3 days of falling back down into the pits of despair, in the pits of hell. Your choice. But it requires work, it requires effort, it requires focus, it requires being present. Because the only way to receive presence is to be present in the here and the now. Good girls, Santa Claus only gives presents to the good boys and girls, not the naughty ones. What's a naughty boy or girl? They're lazy, slothful. Just look at the 7 deadly sins. That's a naughty boy and girl. Look at what is a good boy or girl. Look at the 7 heavenly virtues. That's naughty or nice. If you're nice, you're virtuous. If you're naughty, you're sinful. And to not do the work is sloth, and that's a sin. And this is precisely what is being said here. And then when you don't do the work and you don't achieve anything in your life, and there are no rewards flowing from you, like melatonin, you look young and you have all this energy and you spend an entire year without sleep doing stuff for the betterment of others, and these miracles that occur. If you don't experience those things, you don't have a lot of sense of self. And if you don't have sense of self, you have no inner sense or insense. And if you have no inner sense, you have no higher sense. You have no higher sense of yourself. And then at the end of the day, you just become despondent and frustrated and down and despairing because you can't rise. And this is again what you're looking at. This is what they tempt you into, and this is where you choose to stay. That's who you are. That's who you are. They're never going to tell you that. This is the thing. All of you that are thinking that there won't be these 10 days of darkness, or there won't be this period where the military are in charge, as per the Q drops, then you're still not getting that this is biblical, and that it is totally biblical. We have to go into martial law. We have to go into martial law before we can get back to here. Because here's the thing. People are saying, I can't wait for Channel 7, CBS, and Channel 4, ABC, and Channel 5, NBC. I can't wait for them to start dropping these huge truth nuggets, and then boom, there it is. there it is for everyone to hear. And it's like, you're going to be waiting for a long time. You're going to be waiting for hell to freeze over if that's how you think this works. And the reason is that the mainstream media was never constructed to tell the truth. So why would it start now? Yeah, but that's the only way they're going to reach the many. Or something has to change. Or something has to change. What do you think that changes? What's the only way for you? Because the mainstream media can't tell the truth. That's not the answer. That's not the way. Because they were never constructed to tell the truth. Okay? Get it? So what's the only way that the many who are asleep are going to hear the big bombshells? Just use reason, common sense. It's common sense. If the mainstream is never going to tell the truth, then what's the only way? Justin, Marie?
Gotta be the military.
Yes, the 10 days.
You have to have the darkness. You have to have some kind of third party step in and just say, we're at risk. We're at DEFCON 1. We are surrounded by enemies. This is, they may even roll out like a fake alien invasion as like, syrup on top of the ice cream sundae or something like that. Who knows? But you have the military come in and says this is serious. We're taking over. We're declaring martial law, and everything is being shut down. Stay tuned to the right frequency. Boom, boom. Stay tuned to the frequency, and we'll have some drops for you on the right frequency. Wow. And then suddenly the stuff comes out, and suddenly things are being dropped to you. And people are taking it seriously because it's the military. When it's the military, they take things seriously, right? And then what's the military going to say? Well, we're not a government, so we don't know what we're doing here. We just had to right the ship. Here's what's been going on. You are entitled to the truth. You have not been told the truth. So now that you know what's going on, we're going to bring things back up to speed, and you have to have another election. And this time freely, which we will oversee. We will oversee so that there's no cheating. So what you truly choose is what you're going to get. Make sense? It's the only way. It's the only way to move forward. And this is what's being referenced in this chapter 9. And you gotta go through heaven, or you gotta go through hell if you want to get to heaven. But if you go through hell, you're gonna dig up those scarabs. You're gonna dig up those scorpions, and they're loaded with venom. So how do you ensure that the locusts do not eat your crops? How do you ensure that the scarabs do not attack your house and drag you off? How do you ensure that the scorpion does not sting you and then you suffer? Military intervention, and tune in to the right frequency to hear the truth. What? That's like a parable of life. Get it? Tune into the right frequency to hear the truth. But that's what they've done to you. They've got you your whole life. They've had you here. Everyone's been in on it. Even Mr. Rogers has been in on it. They're all in on it. Yeah. It's a big club. You ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, same club that used to bang you over the head, hit you over the head every day, tell you what to eat, what to wear, how to think. It's a big club. You're not in it. It's a good thing. You don't want to be in that club. You don't want to be in that club. You just have to tune in to the right frequency See, up and to the right? I'm not making this up. Go look at any radio. AM, down and to the left. FM, up and to the right. 610, 540, or 610 at the bottom of the AM. 107, 108, 107.1 or 108.9 at the high end of the dial. They know. They just choose not to do, but they don't give you a choice. Isn't that the world we live in? You think you have a choice. You don't have a choice. Yeah, sure we do. We get to vote in an election. But for whom? Bullshit A or bullshit B or bullshit. If you live in Canada, at least you get bullshit C. But it's all bullshit. So that's what's being said here. And if you don't want to be bit by scorpions, then change your frequency. Change your frequency and be the light, and then you will see the light, and the light is truth. They're one and the same. And so look at this passage. And the fifth angel sounded. What's the fifth chakra? What's the fifth chakra? Right here, throat chakra. That's the blood-brain barrier. And I saw a star, because you're at the fifth, you're at the observatory, and you saw a star from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit. There was smoke, and the skies filled with smoke, and the locusts upon the earth. And they were given a power as the scorpions of the earth have power. What's that power? To scare, to torment, to punish, to cause pain and suffering. I've been bitten by a scorpion. I know. And it is commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. It doesn't get any more clear than that. What's the seal, everyone? What's the seal? You know what the seal is. You know what the number is. 144. When Jesus told the fishermen to cast their nets to the right, and then they'll have better luck with their fishing. How many fish did they catch? 153. It's all about the 9. It's all about the 9. What is the 9th letter of the alphabet? The I. Not eyes. It's not eyes. It's an I. It's a single I. It's a single I. And then what's the word that we use as much as any other word in the English language? Hi. Hi. We use it all the time, and nobody knows what it means. Nobody knows what it means or why we use it. High. To get high. But look at this word HI. High. 8, 9 is 17. H is the 8th letter, and 9 comes right after. It's the 9th letter. 8, 9 is 17, which is Q, which is the action to pull the Ouroboros into the eternal 8. So you live forever. H is the breath of God. 9 is divinity. High. I don't get it. What do you mean? Do you want me to go high? As opposed to low? I don't get. What are you saying? High. What's this high business? We use these words and we're not awake to know what we're saying and doing or what is being told to us or shown to us in every single moment. Everything is numerology. Everything is symbology. Everything is gematria, because God is teaching you the truth and telling you, showing you the way in everything. Every single creature that was created is there to teach you the one story. Every letter is there to teach you the one story. Every number is there to teach you the one story. And they all work in concert with each other, like angels with trumpets, and they all play their frequency. But you go to university to get 1 degree. You need 360 degrees. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 9. And you have to have the right, you have to have the right vibration and the right frequency. So you have to have the right hertz, which is 432. Wait, I'm not very good at math, but wait. 9! 9! It's always 9! And then don't you love that the music industry gave us 440? So what naturally occurs in music? Because like Marie said, what comes first? Well, it's the breath. So that's life, that's God, so it's all natural, it's beautiful. So before you make the sound, you take the breath, and the breath makes the music, because it's already there. You're just conveying along a belt, you're conveying what was already there, because it's in the breath, which is God. And that's how this all works. This is exactly how all of this works. It's the most magical miracle, and you just have to use and know and see and be awake and aware, and then draw from the well, not from the cistern of hell. From the well of God, not the cistern of hell, deep beneath the earth, because that's filled with locusts and scorpions. This is where you draw life from. This is life. When you kill an animal, are you here or are you there? Come on, don't lie. Accept it, deal with it, process it. No one is judging you, so we're only trying to help you. When you kill an animal, and you know the dairy industry? You know the dairy industry, what cows do they want? They only want one kind. What if the mom who's raped and then forced into giving birth gives the wrong kind? I've shown pictures of this. It is, who does this shit? Who goes along with this shit? If you eat meat, dairy, and eggs, you're promoting this shit. You gave birth to a male. We can't have that. Right in front of the mom. It's the cow, they don't care. What's wrong? What's wrong? We have no kindness left in us. Why do you think we're all called humans? And everybody just accepts it and uses the term human. Hue, to obscure man. The obscured man. Yep, they got that right. They got that right. And we're ruled over by aliens. Yep, they got that right. Yeah. Where is us in any of this? It's the frickin' movie Inception. A dream within 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 a dream. You don't know where anything begins or where anything ends. You don't know what is the truth. You don't know how deep the lies go. You don't know where anything is. You don't know who you are. What's worse, you don't know how to get out of it. It's hell. That's what's being said here. And it isn't pleasant, I grant you, but it's the truth. And the only way things will ever change is if we hear the truth. You have to have a middle person. You have to have another way to come in and to say, this is all for shit. It's all a mess. And we're shutting it all off to protect you. Stay tuned to the right frequency and we will give you updates. 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 What is a date? Where do you get a date? Updates. That's what updates are. Nuggets of truth. That's where the word update comes from. But the news took it. So now it means something different. And it's a lie because it comes from the news, which was created to lie to you from the beginning. But I can't wait for CBS to tell me all about Jennifer Aniston's a guy and that she's eating children. She has pizza parties at her home all the time with all the big stars. I can't wait for that. You'll be waiting until hell freezes over if you're waiting for that. Sorry to be so blunt today, but we're just so close to all of this. And if I hold back any longer, I fear what some will do. And this is why Justin said what he said the other day. I couldn't even believe those words came out of Justin's mouth. They were divinely gifted to him in that moment to say that. Remember how serious Justin was the other day about we're going to lose a significant... He's right. He's right.
And the more, yeah, and just to add to that, the more that we are complacent with telling the truth, the more that we are saying we don't give a shit about these people and how they're going to take their, I would rather take the easy route and not tell the truth and allow more of these people who are going to take their own lives to do so. And, ultimately it's free will. People are going to have the choice to do as they want and to end their life if they want to. But if we're complacent, if we're lazy and we don't take responsibility in what we're here to do, if we don't answer the call and stand in the truth, then we're saying we're okay with allowing whatever level of depravity to be brought forward. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Charlie, because it's so important to remember this is about the children. This is about innocence in general. This is about all of us. This is about all of us as family. And if we don't stand strong within that truth, then we're saying we don't give a shit about that. Point blank, to be very blunt, we're saying I don't give a shit about that. I don't care about that enough. So we have to be very, very firm in the truth and how we stand in it. Because this is so clear. This is so clear within this book, and this is so clear within what we're being called to do. And if you're listening to these videos, if you're in this community, you are receiving a call of some degree or another. So answer it. Thanks, Charlie. That's all.
Just want to chime in real quick. Like what you said, Charlie, was just so perfect, every single part of it. And, where is us in any of this? It's like what Justin was just saying too. Like, guys, it's not about you and your life being back to normal or, at least your life isn't so bad. It's really realizing that we're in this thing together. And it's not about your feelings. It's not about all the dumb stuff from before. There's just too much at stake. Like when you realize that, like singers that are celebrated are in the White House and they're changing the color of the room to, like, we're celebrating the worst stuff ever. It's so bad. And that's why so many of us have just joined this movement and not looked back. Even when we did, we knew we couldn't not do it. We knew it would be hard. We're still hard sometimes, but we keep doing it because there's so much at stake here. And it is biblical, Charlie. I mean, wow. I think your passion and your gah is really needed sometimes, because it's like wake up. It's a dream and a dream and a dream and a dream and a dream. And it's not a show. This is life. This is our creation. This is our mother. This is the oceans and the trees and the fruits of the earth. And it's us returning home to where we belong. And I really feel grateful to be in this community and in this conversation in this moment in time, because God knows, it's going to be big. It's biblical. It's meant to be. And one more thing is, I'm so grateful that you keep reminding us that this is going to be a military thing. Like, this is going to happen. And hold the line. It's got to get worse before it gets. It is a barbecue. It's fried. The grasses are getting burned. It's in the Bible. This shit is going down. And we got to hold each other's hands and love on each other. And this is not about hurting feelings now. It's wake the fuck up. Shit is going down. It's serious right now. Let's stop lying about it, and let's start telling the truth and stop protecting these systems that really are just horrendous and horrific. And everyone's included in this, and we were all there too. So it's about getting out of that. That's what this is about. It's not saving it or protecting it so that at least your family's protected. Who cares if you're protected if everybody else goes to shit? It's about all of us. And yeah, I get really passionate about that too. And so it's wonderful to be in the midst of such committed souls too, that are on this thing, like for the right reasons. There is a right and there is a wrong. That's a fact. Like, that's God. That's not Marie Russell. Like, look, if it were up to me, I don't know. I just want to go in alignment to what God wants for all of us. And that's kindness. This is not kind. It's not kind to kill an animal's child in front of it. Like, what the fuck? I feel the same way. It's like when I heard a call, it was like, boom, done. No matter how hard it is, however many people think we're crazy, who cares what people think? I mean, I know I say that now, I still do care at times, but like, it really is about that 1, 2, 3 switch, remembering what this is about, the core of it. Yeah, the core of this thing. I'll be done now. Thank you.
I can decode. I can decode until the cows come home. Shit's gonna happen when it happens. And so the only answer is to hold the line. Love isn't always on time. You try to do this, and time, by the way, is a literalization of the Word of God. Time is just an allegory for the literalization. So we live in a world where we all agree. We know that there's no such thing as time, but it's rude to not show up to work on time. You shouldn't have work. You shouldn't have a job. Okay, let's take a step back here. How did we get to this thing about showing up to work? Wait a minute. Do I get a say in this? No. And you have to be on time or else. I just want the or, not the else. I just want the gold. Fuck you and your else. I'll just take the gold. Bye. I don't want this work. And when like I said, when I started on my journey out of university and started doing what I was doing, it's like, there's no way. I knew there's no way I could do this for the rest of my life. I knew I couldn't. There has to be another way. And that's how Colleen and I knew, while we were sort of ahead of the curve of others, about there has to be good people out there that are fighting against, maybe in secret, makes sense, because these evil ones are everywhere, but there has to be, because I can't be alone in going, I can't believe these people. I just want to eradicate them from the earth, and I'll do whatever it takes to eradicate them from this earth, because they're so wrong. And like Marie said, there's a right and wrong. That's not Charlie Freak telling you that, and you have to buy my product and make me #1 guy in the internet. That's God. There's a right and a wrong. No, there's not, Charlie. No, there's just shades of gray. It's all good. You have your truth. I have my truth. Satan. Aleister Crowley. Satan. There you are. You're eating hamburgers and hot dogs and drinking Coca-Cola. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's all wrong. And it takes a third party to intervene to separate this insanity and then make us wait for the right frequency to arrive, and then we'll have a chance to cast our votes. And there will be people that will vote for whatever the opposite of Donald Trump is. There will be people who will do that. Well, I think he's Illuminati. Really? Still? Is that where you're at? Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, people coming to me with that kind of stuff, my patience is growing thin with that. You know, if you're coming to me with any sort of fear about, oh, what do you think of this or the vaccine, blah blah blah, and it's like, you know what, you get to live in that sort of fear-based reality all you want, and I'm not going to coddle you, and you get to suffer. It's suffering. You get to bring that suffering on yourself. I know that this is God's plan, and I know that it will happen in God's timing.
Beautiful.
Point, period, full stop, and and so people who come to me with this sort of like, oh, what if that, or what if this, and what if that, and eh, eh, I'm not even gonna get into it anymore, because it's not worth my time, and it's just feeding your egoic perception of a fear-based reality that you want to live in, because you are living in your left brain, and your ego has got you. Um, and that's where we have to get really clear on. And the only person that I would take somewhat seriously if they were living in that fear-based reality that Trump was Illuminati and that the Q is all fake, and they would be, I would find them somewhere in the middle of the woods without any sort of devices, and they would be living completely away from anything possible. And then I would be like, okay, you actually believe that, and you're taking it seriously, because if you believe that this is all fake, and we're being lured into a fake plan, then what the fuck are you doing here? You know, we're screwed beyond belief. Like, if you truly believe that that's real, you better be getting as far away from society as you possibly can. And if you're not, then you're just teetering back and forth, and that's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. So I just want to say that very clearly to anyone who's coming to me with that kind of conversation. I'm not going to engage with it anymore. I'm not. It's not worth it, and it just means that you cannot serve two masters. And if you are not serving one, you are inevitably serving the other. And if you're coming to me with that kind of shit, then you are serving the other master. Point blank, full stop. And yeah, just wanted to say that very clearly, very clearly.
Beautiful. And we need to learn how to trust each other. Like, God is good. There is love. There, each one of us has this radar. We know inside of us. And I just want us to trust each other more. The ones that are out there on the line saying these things. Like, if Justin gets on the phone with you, he's saying he loves you. Like, and why are we so afraid to feel the love? Is because it's been so inverted and so sexualized, and so, comfort with food and all this false joy. This community and some of the things that have happened, behind the scenes, and all of this love, like, that's real. That's real. And so for me, that kind of keeps me going. I trust this. I trust you guys. And no matter what happens from here on out, that's what this is about. It's just trusting that God is here and working through us. And we're here to support each other and love each other. It's not about anything else. And when you go into the fear, I mean, I know how it feels. It's pretty shitty stuff. It's not serving anyone. So 1, 2, 3, switch.
Yeah, and it's such an incredible analogy by Justin. If I was backpacking somewhere and I came across somebody who was just living upon a mountaintop somewhere, living in nature, and we got into a conversation, the person told me that Adolf Hitler and his Germany was completely evil and whatever else, I'd have a listen to that. Because I'd like to know how somebody on their own, divining through whatever process they have on their own, came to that conclusion. But if you're living in the shitter in a city somewhere, and you got your information from an encyclopedia, or you got it from Wiki, or you got it from a Hollywood movie, that's the case, I have no patience, I have no time, I have no ear, I have no sympathy, I have no compassion to hear that shit and that dribble. And if you think any of that is truth, then you are living precisely in whatever reality you deserve to live in, because they peddle lies 24/7. None of it is true. None of it is real. None of it is God. None of it. It's all pure lies, which is pure Satan. And that's what Colleen and I have taught you for years now. If you have truth inside of you, you'll live. God is the God of the living. If you're living with lies, you're going to die. You're going to die, and you're going to know pain, and you're going to know suffering, because that is what lies are. They are the antithesis of you. Superman had kryptonite. We have lies. Lies are not us. And again, why can I be so passionate about animals and other people just don't give a shit at all? Who's right and who's wrong in this issue? They have pets. They love their pets. They got a nice little dog. They may have goldfish in some little bowl somewhere. And so they love animals, but it's just all about the right animals and the wrong animals. That's insane. By sheer definition, that's insane, because you are the judge and the jury in determining who lives and who dies. So you're a cow, shit out of luck. Sorry about that. If you're a goldfish, way to go. You just made it, because most every other fish we eat. Shit out of luck if you're a fish. That's insanity. Come on, that's insanity. And then there's Crazy Charlie that's saying, no, they're living, breathing, and they're like incredibly wise. Just observe them. See how familial they are and how clever they are, and love them. Be with them. Be of them. Share this experience with them. Who's right and who's wrong? No. There's no right and there's no wrong. There's just you have your truth and I have my truth. No, there's a right and there's a wrong. God is the God of the living, not of the dead. So I'm just going to finish. All we have to say about this passage is 19, 20, and 21. So this is for all of you, after all that we just did for the last half an hour. That's one heck of a breath. Let me repeat this, because this is what's waiting for you. You choose not to be with God in every moment. 19, 20, 21. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver, brass and stone, and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. The rewards are built into the work you do. I wouldn't want what's coming. If I was participating in verses 19, 20, and 21, I wouldn't even want to know what was coming. But there you have it. A heart attack at 57, and you're 120 pounds overweight, and you lived in pain and suffering your whole life. That's it. You're gifted 1,000 years when you're born, and you're living to 50 or 60 because they poison you from day one. A Jew is one inwardly, not outwardly, and circumcision is of the heart, not of the letter. So to uncircumcise is God. To circumcise is the devil, is satanic. When our kids go in to the hospital, hey, and while we're there, let's snip those tonsils. You don't need them. First line of defense for the shit you put in your mouth. Let's take them out. Nobody puts two and two together. Seriously. What do tonsils do? Absorb toxins right at the source. Snip, snip. I can take them out. You don't want to have tonsillitis. Oh, why do people get tonsillitis? We're not really sure, but there's a pill for it, but it's a lot of pain. I could just take them out. No, tell me the truth. Why do people get tonsillitis? I don't really, my nose is getting really long. I'm not going to tell you. You get tonsillitis when you absorb toxins. That's why. And if you are sick and tired of having tonsillitis all the time, stop ingesting poison. Guarantee your tonsils will never inflame if you drank fruit juice. Freshly squeezed off the vine? Never, never, ever, ever. And I'd like to have my tonsils if I ever try something that I'm not sure about and isn't really good for me. They'll let me know. They'll let me know. So thank you. Don't take those off. Don't cut my penis off. Yeah, I'd pretty much like to have that, okay? I pretty much want to remain in God's image. And you think these are your real parents that go along with this shit? Or are they a pair of rents trying their best to get it right, but they're stumbling and often getting it all wrong?
To get through that, like to get through that realization to the other side so that you can now like just do the work. Like, don't get stuck in it. Don't get stuck in the fact, like get through that. Like, understand that is what happened. What are my feelings? Like, through transformation. This is about us transforming, being totally different than we were before. I mean, the Bible said it. You're everything's going to change physiologically. Everything's going to change in your brain. You're going to look different. Your skin's going to be different. Everything's going to be different, and that's a good thing. It's heavy stuff. All the medications, and we're healing. I mean, all of us here are healing this stuff. We've all had antibiotics put in our bodies when we didn't want it to. We've all had, I see in the chat here, so much shit put in our bodies. We've got to take some time now, clean up. That's what this is about. That's what this moment is about. That's the gift of this moment, of getting through, of being willing to realize that everything we've been taught is a lie. And now it's a gift to know the truth. It's a gift. It's not a bad thing. It's a gift. Stop killing animals. Stop eating animals. You'll feel better.
And observe a cat give birth to like 7 kittens. There's no anesthetic. There's no anesthesiologist. There's no nurse. There's no doctor. There's no manual. There's no text. There's nothing but that mother giving birth to 7 kittens. She knows exactly what to do and when to do it. And they all come out and she cleans them all up. There's no blankets and cloths and towels and special cleaner, and she does it all herself. She doesn't get sick. She doesn't throw up from licking all of the mucus and the blood, and natural, and it's perfect. And look at what women go through to have a child born on this earth. You're put through hell. You're taught everything the wrong way. And they scare you in advance. And it's a hellish experience for virtually all women. Not all, but for so many it is. And that's why what Lonnie's doing is such goodly, godly work and of such incredible value, teaching people another way, a natural way. Trusting God. He's got you. He's got you. So people are saying, I want to have this birth and I want to have that birth. And how about having a God birth? How about that? Yeah, it's again, so much we're revealing today. I don't know why. Don't know what this book is we're reading, but we're revealing a lot today. And I know it's a lot. I realize, I can feel it's a lot, but things are getting so close now. It's now or never for some to have this information, this gnosis come out. And so we're saying it, and I know it's a lot. It's an intense day. Chapter 10 has 11 verses. What does that tell you right off the bat? If we're in the pinnacle book, the 66, get rid of the 33 and get to the 60. If we're in the pinnacle book and we're in chapter 10 and there are 11 verses, what is this telling us right off the bat?
Pay attention.
Pay attention, because this is all about the temple, how to get there or whatever, but it's about the temple. So, Justin, you want to take us through?
Yep. So verse 1, and I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot on the earth, and cried with a loud voice as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, and there should be time no longer. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel, which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and I ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before my peoples and nations and tongues and kings.
Wow.
If that's not an allegory, what is? How do you teach that, Mr. Priest or Mr. Pastor? How do you teach that and not say to people that this is an allegory?
Oh, I think we're just supposed to eat books and taste like honey, and must be literal.
Okay, so it's a simple but important message. Do you guys want to tackle it first? It's a beautiful message.
Well, the book is truth. I mean, this is truth, and it's because the truth can be bitter. It can feel, it's powerful. It's like it's sweet as honey because it is the truth, and we know it and we feel it and it resonates, and we're like, yes, this is the truth. But then it's like, oh, holy shit, like that is a lot to take in. Like that is wow. And when it vacates so much from the illusory world, the lie that we've been living with for so long, it is very bitter. So it takes a minute to acclimate to, and so this is just kind of a powerful reminder when the thunders the thunders roar, and all of it, it's very intense. It's very intense for us to integrate and to take on. That's what I got out of that one.
And rightly so, and very well done.
I mean, real quick, I just on that same section, for me, it felt like it was bitter, but it was like remnant of the book of the Essenes, that one that we were also reading about the parasites. Like it's bitter, and it pulls out all of the yucky. But when you prophesize to all nations, it will affirm it within you. When you're able to like share the sweetness of truth, then that kind of alchemizes the discomfort of what it can feel like. But if you just hold it and kind of, hunker in, then it can be a little bit difficult. So I think that this is part of us being more familiar with the truth and more accustomed to it.
You again just and the key really
We're losing your voice, Charlie.
Okay. What you're seeing is the risen man or woman in heaven. And I saw a mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as if it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. So this is man or woman who has done the work, who has ascended up here, and this is what it appears like to those when the risen, the ones that have done the work and have come back to us. And it has to be 3, and cried voice as when lion roared, and he cried, satyrs uttered their voice. Now, this is how you know that what Justin is saying is absolutely correct, truth, right, because it's the lion. The lion is the Lion King, is what we ascend to. So it is the lion that you're seeing in verse 1 with the rainbow upon the head. And the lion roars because the lion boldly went where no man went before. And this is why when the angel came down, he put his right foot upon the sea and his left foot upon the land. He put magnetism upon the mother. Get it? His right foot upon the sea, he put magnetism upon the mother, and he put electricity upon the land. And the right foot in the sea will recharge and replenish eternally that energy, and the left foot on the land grounds him, and he is the master of 2 worlds, and that is the Lion King, the master of 2 worlds. And he roars because he knows the truth. So that's how you know what Justin was saying to you is absolutely correct, because the lion roars with the truth, and you speak it loudly, boldly, because you went where no man has gone before. And you went into the enterprise. You entered to receive the prize, which is wisdom, and wisdom only comes from knowing the truth. So that's exactly what is being said here. So well done. And then as we go through this, and I saw the angel stand upon the sea and upon the earth, and he lifted his hand to heaven and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that are therein, in the sea and the things which are therein, that should be time no longer. Why doesn't anyone talk about this in church? Wait a minute. This is the last book. Shouldn't we really be going over this book, perhaps even more so than the others? Shouldn't we be going over this line by line? What does that mean? Swearing in every single form and essence of who we are that there should be time no longer. What did I say to you moving forward with our children? If we continue moving forward and applying time and limits to our children, we're going to fuck this all up again. There can be no grade schools. You don't put children into a school or group them based on their age. Everyone develops at different rates. It doesn't, but I don't want to put my kid who's really tall and big because he's 9 in with a bunch of 5 or 6 year olds, because everyone will make fun of him because he's an idiot. He's way behind. He's retarded or something like this. No, we all grow and develop in different ways, and patience is a virtue. So maybe the one who developed slowly and then burst into flames will be the greatest amongst us. Do not judge a book by their cover. Allow. And so there's just no room for this grouping together of kids unless it comes naturally. And there's no room for time, and there's no room for mandates, and there's no room for limitations. You take your children, you are their teachers. You take them into nature every day, and that's science, that's mathematics, that's geography, that's history, that's French, that's Japanese, because you travel upon the land and you meet everyone upon the land and you learn every language upon the land by traveling the land. That's archaeology. That's everything through the mother. And that's what you do. And when they're finished at around 333 years old, then they can go off on their own. And they can go travel, they can do whatever they want. They can start dating girls, but not until 33. But I mean, but we live in a reality where, you're married at 19 with 2 kids and no savings, and you got a job that's dependent on resources, but all the manufacturing is going to Taiwan and then, China, and then, and you got no job, and then, you beat your wife, and it's just like, wow, what are we doing with the flower of God's creation? Selling it for pennies. You're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. Do you know what that means? You live by the left brain, you're going to die in a big way. You're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. You live by the dime brain, you're going to suffer. And you're going to have to be all in to this sick, diseased world. That's what it means. Cast thy net to the right. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. That's why the German word for no to the devil is 9. 9, 9, 9, 9. 9. The answer is 9. Go away, devil. Go away. The answer is 9. So it's so beautiful. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it, eat it. See how that makes you feel. And it shall make thy belly bitter, but in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and I ate it up. And it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples, nations, and tongues, and kings. Who the only person that we know in the Bible that was a sinner and then 3 days later was a prophesizer of God. That was Jonah. And he fell into a great fish for 3 days. And when he came out of the middle of that fish in silence and in darkness after 3 days, he was a prophesizer of God. Stillness, silence, breathing, meditation is the way to the 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples, nations, and tongues, and kings. Go in to the temple and come back out again a changed man. Become the Bodhisattva and share these teachings. And not in the cities of the Gentiles or of the Samaritans. You have to go into hell. So you're going to have to go into DC. You're going to have to go into Vatican, and you're going to have to go into, what's the third hell? The London Financial District. And there we must teach this truth, where it is needed the most. So beautiful. It's a little ditty. It's a favorite of mine. It's a little ditty, but it's a beauty, and it's telling you the truth. And boy, what does it? And does everyone get that? When you try to take the truth physically, It will make thy belly bitter, but it will be in my mouth sweet as honey. Because this is the two realms, the two worlds. And truth is a bitter pill to swallow when you know only the physical earth. But it is sweet as honey when you know heaven. Yep. Okay. Let's move on, babies. 11. And then the first verse would be 1. So then that's 11:1. That's 111. That's probably significant. I'm just saying.
There was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God and the altar and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles in the holy city, shall they tread over 40 months. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. These have power to shut heaven, and it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet. And great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to God of heaven. And the second woe is past. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And the 7th angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before God on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped God, saying, We give thee thanks, O Lord God Almighty, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead, and they should be judged, and thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants and prophets and to the saints, and from them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail.
Thank you, Marie. Very, very well done. And folks, this is going to blow you away. There's so much here, and there's so much Q here. And remember, Q is 17, R is 18, and 17 and 18 is 35. Remember that as we go through this. Q is 17, R is 18, and 17 plus 18 is 35. Okay? So the book of Revelation is this perfect unification of symbology, numerology, allegory to synthesize this perfect message into action. It's a call to arms is the book of Revelation, because this is that moment where you choose life or death. So it's huge. It's absolutely huge. So, and there was given me, so I said 11:1 is probably significant, 111. And there was given to me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, rise, measure the temple of God and the altar and them that worship therein. Okay? So very significant, because what is being said to you is that the reed that you have is like unto a rod. So that's your spine. And the angel stood saying, rise up your spine and measure the temple of God, which is above. So then that would be your head, and the altar and them that worship wherein. Now, the altar is the Ark of the Covenant, which is the third ventricle of your brain, and them that worship within, that's pineal father, that's pituitary mother, and that's child who has risen. That's the Holy Trinity. And worship them therein. So you see, doesn't take rocket science. This isn't hard. I didn't have to do any hocus pocus to teach you that the Bible teaches only the truth. And the truth is Father, Mother, Child. That's the Holy Trinity. The whole purpose is for you to get out of your pair of rents home as fast as you can, as young as you can, to make mistakes along the way as the prodigal child, and then to say, I've had enough and I'm coming back to my real home, which is within you. To boldly go where no man has gone before, which is enterprise. To enter and to receive the prize, which is Trinity, which is family. So I told you 11:1 would be significant. That's very significant, because in that brief passage, it just told you everything. That's everything. It just told you everything. And it told you physiologically, it told you metaphorically, and it told you physically and metaphysically. It's wow. And that was 11:1. But the court, which is without the temple, leave out. Why would they call that a court? Because it's all a game. And it has to be home court. And you must retain serve. So you must remain as king. And the only way that you can be on home court, holding serve, and be as king is he who asks questions. You can't do that in another's court. If you play the game as a citizen upon a ship, the citizenship, then you've taken your home turf, your home territory, and you're adrift on the Maritime Admiralty Law seas. That's what it is saying. Say no to their court, because they'll set you on a ship adrift upon the sea, and you are nothing more than an allegory to them. But the court which is without the temple leave out, measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. Aha. Here we go. Let me turn my camera back on. This needs to work. You need to see this. 42. 42. How do we get to 42 again? Abraham to David, 14 bloodlines. David to the existence of Babylon, 14 bloodlines. And from their waxing supreme of Babylon to Jesus Christ, 14 bloodlines. 14, 14, 14, 42. So in that, it's saying the purity of this blood from Abraham to Jesus Christ. Okay? So, what does it say again? Measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. And that's why I told you before, 42 is in a measurement of time, a measurement of months. It's a passage, it is a journey. It's 42. And they met underfoot 42. 42. This is the and I will give unto my warriors the only two witnesses. Play your testicles, tell the truth. Only two witnesses. Pineal gland and pituitary gland. Why? When Jesus was crucified, were there two others? One slightly up and to the right, and one slightly down and to the left of Jesus. They called them thieves in the night. Thieves in the night. Father and mother. Jesus was not alone upon the mount. Of course not. Mother. He had to go through this passage with the two witnesses. Father, mother. Two thieves in the night, hey? And I will give power unto my two witnesses, father and the mother, pineal and the pituitary gland, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. 1,260. So you just had somebody say significance of the number 42, and then they're going to have to worship and prophecy 1,260 days. If you're wondering what they have in common with each other, just do some basic calculation. Work things out. How is the 42 connected to the 1,260? Through the child and the journey of the child. And that's why it's 30. How old was Jesus when the biblical story starts back up again? 30. 42 times 30, 1,260 days. Let's do some math. 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 0 equals 9. 9. 1,260 is 9. You have to journey 42 days through the 30 degrees of separation to get divinity. Now, what are the 30 degrees of separation? Well, you should know this because everything about Jesus in the Bible is about he and his apostles, his buddies. And there were how many of them?
12.
12 times 30 equals 360 degrees. 3 plus 60, 9. To get divinity in the physical, I said, this is the we must go through. This is the introductory journey of physical. 33, we cross the fiction, cross over the lie, we cross over the Oxford Dictionary and into the truth, the etymology of the Book of Life. When your name is written in, you wear the mark upon your brow of 144, which is 9. 12 apostles, 30 degrees of separation, 360. Now, what are the 12 apostles a metaphor or allegory representing? What do they represent? The 12 apostles on the earth are mirroring what 12 in the sky? the constellations, right? So this is about the 12 constellations and the 30 degrees of separation of the constellations and the 360 degrees. So you have to know your astrology and you have to know your astrological table, wheel, to be able to see in plain sight the message that is being said to you. Okay? And if you go around the circle, it completes a story. And guess what? The story of the wheel, the circle of astrology, is that if you do it, you exit the door to the right, which is the moksha, and out you go. And if you don't do it, around and around and around the wheel you go, forever and ever and ever. Amen. So that's what this is referring to. That's what this is talking about. This is the journey above you. So there's a journey with the apostles in the physical, which is your spine, which is a rod, and you must rise up the rod, the spine, to find heaven. And heaven is represented by this 42 because it's the blood of the three perfect bloodlines, all the way Abraham, all the way to Jesus Christ. And 42 times this 30 degrees of separation is 1260 days that one must prophesy to receive heaven. One must prophesy 1260 days to receive heaven. 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 0 is 9, which is divine. So what is this 30 degrees of separation then? It's what separates the pieces from the whole. The whole point of this is the truth, which is whole. So the 30 degrees of separation is this beautiful, perfect allegory for tapestry. And that's what your life is. It's a tapestry, said Carole King. And she's right. It's all a tapestry. It's a quilt. Life is a quilt. And every experience you have, you stitch it together. And together, it makes up a whole. And that's what you have to do. Patience is a virtue. Patience, the prize for patience is wisdom. Because wisdom comes when you see the wholeness of the tapestry. 12, 30, 360, divinity, wisdom. So you have to travel through. You are the one. 12 plus 1. 12 plus 1 equals 13. You are the Christed one. You're the lucky number. Not a luckier number than 13. Wait a minute. Don't they tell us this is the unlucky number? Wow, that seems upside down, Charlie. Yeah. So the luckiest number is 13. You are the one. You have to go through the 12. What are the 12 on the land telling you, teaching you, an allegory for? The 12 in the sky. If you go through the 12 in the sky, that astrology, the astrological wheel, all have to go, because that's the way. You look at base start anywhere, but I always sort of like to start with Leo, because that's sort of to get to, so to speak, which is to become the Lion King. So sometime in August, you got to start taking everything really seriously. And this is the representation of the Leo. Now, the Leo, what comes right after Leo is Virgo. Virgo is the Virgin. So you have Leo, which is the lion, which is the father, which is total wisdom, which is the strength of knowingness, because he knows all, because he's the creator. And then he's followed by the Virgin Mother. Okay, that's why we start there. Out comes the child, Libra, who is free. That's what you are. And what's the first thing they do when you're born? they send a ferryman to capture you. And that's a doctor. That's the doctor. You're the ore, he's the dock. You're the gold, he's the cage. That's what a doctor does. And that's why they have protocols. That's why they follow these protocols. That's why babies' feet are not allowed to touch the earth, the ground, because technically that would make you whole and real and free. And so everything they do in that room is to introduce you into a world of hell instead of a world of heaven. And then you, after a while, you just buy into it. You go along with it because you've never known anything but hell. And that's why they do what they do. Doctors. So you are Libra. You are a child which is free. And the first thing we experience are the scorpions that are climbing out of the holes in the earth. Locusts and scorpions, doctors, dentists, teachers, politicians. All of these people are these cockroaches coming out of the seams in the earth, which hold the 7 hellish energies, and they're what get you first. You have to send your kid to school. You have to send them to daycare because both of you need to work. Get the mom out of the home. At all costs, get the mother out of the home. What did Adolf Hitler do? They had already taken the mom out of the home, and what did Adolf Hitler do? He did everything to put the mom back in the home. He did everything to exalt the child as the most important thing there was. He did everything to make families no debt, no stress. He paid for families to go on vacations, not just in Germany, but out of Germany. He bought a cruise liner that went to the Mediterranean Riviera. He encouraged people, the Germans, to go to Egypt and learn all about the symbology of ancient Egyptology, and they became very fascinated with it. That's why Hollywood makes movies making fun of the Germans' interest in Egypt and the pyramids and stuff. Everything he did was biblical, but he's the worst guy ever, right? And once again, really quickly, really as fast as I can, the Havara Act. Havara in Hebrew is transfer. The transfer agreement from 1933 until 1941, while 2 years into the war, Hitler was still running the transfer agreement, which allowed any German Jew free access to the Holy Land, to Palestine, and to where this Havara Corporation existed. The Havara Corporation was this corporation that was dealing with bringing all of the Jews around across the earth to the Holy Land, to this Palestine, in preparation for the creation at some point of a nation of Israel. And Adolf Hitler ended up transferring an enormous, a monstrosity amount of money, billions of dollars. Hitler transferred on behalf, because again, with a lot of the German Jews, you couldn't take the land with you. You couldn't take your house with you. You couldn't take this large tractor or machine that you had with you. So what Hitler and the German government did is they liquidated all of their assets, not Jews, no, just their assets they liquidated, and then they gave all of that money back as part of this transfer agreement. And there was set in place with the transfer agreement an ability for any one of these German Jews to file complaints against the German government should any problems along the way. If people felt like that the value of the things we're sort of trading in to the German government wasn't fairly, wasn't accurately given back once they got to the Holy Land. How many claims were filed against in 8 years through the Havara Act or the transfer agreement? How many claims were filed against Hitler's Germany? Zero. Not one. Zero claims. Billions of dollars that Hitler, if he was a bad guy intent on killing the Jews, surely would have kept that money for himself. If he was planning to take over the whole world, surely he could have used $500 billion. Would have come in handy. And if you're going to kill these people, why not? Why would you give? He's a righteous guy. Right thing. So you know. Check it out. Look it up. The transfer agreement or the Havar Act, and it blows what they say about Germany and about Adolf Hitler right out of the water. That's the truth. So, as we go through this, these are the scorpions that come out of the ground and lie to us and make this world a living hell. So as you grow up, what you must become is Sagittarius. And what Sagittarius is the archer who reigns supreme with the keen bow. So when you look at all of the ancient origins to Sagittarius, what it means, what the constellation is supposed to signify is that you're not teapot. No, they changed it. It's changed it, and they push that like crazy now. It's an art with a bow. The bow is called keen bow, which is truth, and that's why the Sagittarius always, the aim is true and always hits the mark. That's what you have to do to defeat evil. The scorpions. How do you defeat the scorpion? You must become Sagittarius. You must wield keen bow. You must tell the truth. You must seek the truth in everything that you do, and your aim will be true. You'll mark your targets because your aim will be guided by God when you cast your net to the right. Sagittarius. Then this is the fall of man on December 21st into the corn field and the Capricorn. So this is at our lowest. This is us at our lowest in Capricorn, and the only option we have is to go into the tomb for 3 days to recharge, and up we go again. Okay? The Capricorn, the fallen man, and the only thing we can do is go into our temple for 3 days. So then, when you get out of the temple, you must become pure of truth. So the first person we meet is a man bearing a pitcher of water. And he's going up to the third room, and we better follow him because that's Aquarius. And the pitcher of water is truth, and we follow him. And along the way we meet Pisces, which is wisdom, which is the two fish, and it's great wisdom because it's the closest thing to God because it's right next to Aries. And Aries is the lamb the burnt offering, the lamb who lays himself down for slaughter upon the altar of God as the burnt offering and arises as the lion king. And how do you get back home to Leo? You raise up with the strength of Taurus, the bull. Because when you hold the truth of God within you, you're strong as a bull and no one can stop you. And the only thing we're lacking is this unity consciousness that Marie talks about, the unity consciousness. So the next thing after Taurus we must meet is Gemini. And remember, do your own research on this. The origins of Gemini twins, it wasn't that these are two twin children. The twins were the mother and the father. It's the virgin who married God in the chamber of the bridegroom. That's Gemini twins because the two became one in the chamber of the bridegroom. Those are the twins. That Gemini is doing the work, going here, and the marriage to God in the chamber of the bridegroom, which creates Cancer. which they've turned into, it doesn't exist, it's not real, there's no such thing as cancer cells. Your cells are reproducing at enormous rates trying to survive because you have toxified your body through acid. You're an acid factory. It's called acidosis. It's not called cancer, it's called acidosis. There's no such thing as cancer. There's no such thing as cancer cells. You're not dying from cancer cells. You're dying because you eat toxified food and you've turned yourself into a battery acid instead of the tree of life, which is what a frugivore is, because they eat the tree of life. That's the truth. And that's what comes next, is this, the truth of cancer, which is the six uniforming themselves in perfect balance to become one with Leo, are the 30 degrees of separation. If you understand that story that I told to you, as simple as that, that's it. That's everything. That's 12 times 30, and that's the illusion of your crown. That's the first journey, is to see the wholeness, which is the truth. The truth is not bits, it's not pieces, it's the wholeness. And it's the journey of the one, the sun, through the 12 constellations. The 12 constellations.
Charlie, we're kind of losing your voice here.
So you are the one. The 12 are the leaves of truth that you must gather on your journeys, and then you sew them together as a tapestry, which is your life. And if that's your life, if your life is collecting 12 30s, you've done pretty well, because that's a circle. And that's 360 degrees. And 3 plus 6 is 9, which is divine. And you've completed step 1 of the journey. That's only one part of the journey, but you've done it. And that's what it's saying to us in plain sight. That's the journey. And anyone can come to this. Anyone can figure this out themselves in the Bible. It's a miracle that none of these priests and pastors have gone rogue and are teaching this stuff, because at a certain point, doesn't somebody go, what's the connection of 42 to 1260? Oh shit. There's 30 42s in 1260. Wow. 30 42s. Wait a minute. This is, oh my God, this is all astrology, isn't it? Wow. And then we have to go and say, what does it say? And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 scores 20, 3 20s 60, 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. What's the significance, Justin and Marie, of sackcloth?
The sackcloth is the I forgot.
Well, the absence of a sackcloth versus being adorned in gold and silver and chains.
Absence of God.
Well, the sackcloth would be the absence of ego. So clothed plainly, a sackcloth. So a sackcloth, which you can find anywhere, and you just put that on you because you're not trying to impress anyone. You're not trying to make an impression physically upon anyone, which is the whole point of this entire chapter. The entire chapter is zero ego. So the father and the mother, which, as I said to you before, have to be sans ego, or they can't be the father and the mother. And they prophesy for 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth, which means they prophesize without ego for 1,260 days, which is what we must do. So then do you see what Lent is all about? Lent is the 40 days and 40 nights in the desert where you're tempted to take thought, but you take no thought for your life. That's what Lent is. The 40 days before Passover of taking no thought for your life. And if you do it, you're ready for Passover. You will surely see the other side, because if you get through the 40 days and nights of not taking thought in Lent, you wear the 144 upon your brow. And when the Grim Reaper comes during Passover to collect the dead, can't collect you, you've got the mark of life upon your brow. 144. Some people say the purity, the blood of the pure lamb upon your brow. Yeah, well, that's a number, 144. Jesus was the master of the 12. What's 12 times 12? 144. Jesus was the master of the 12. He lived forever because he wore the mark upon his brow, for sure. And they're trying to kill Jesus Christ from your existence. They're trying to take the Virgin Mother out of your existence, and they're trying to take God away from you, and that's all that exists. You and your journey with the three therein. They're all inside of you. No one wants to tell you. No one wants to help you. Everybody just wants money from you. And it's wrong. It's flat out wrong.
Exactly.
So, if any man will hurt them, no, I should go back, because this is 4 is really great. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before God of the earth. So again, isn't that what the Bible is teaching you? That God and Mother Earth are your real parents? They're everything. Isn't God and Mother Earth the 2 temples of your temple, of Solomon's temple? Aren't they the 2 olive trees? They sure are. They absolutely are. And isn't that beautiful that those 2 make up the 11? Those 2, because 1 + 1 = 2. Mother 2, Father 1. These are the 2 olive trees, the 2 candlesticks. And they've got the whole world becoming butchers and bakers, and nobody wants to become a candlestick maker. Jesus Christ was not a carpenter of wood. That's not what the word means. He was a candlestick maker. Nobody wants to tell you that. Jesus Christ made candlesticks. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. This is what's happening right now. What did I just say? They're trying to take Jesus, the Mother Mary, and God away from us. What does the Bible just say? It just says in 5, which is crucifixion, if any man will hurt them, father, mother, child, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Do not feel bad about what the Q team has done. This is straight from the Bible. All of this is biblical. And it gets better or worse depending on your mindset as we read through this. Because in the end, it's demanding that we do this. It's demanding that we take them down. It's demanding us. These have power to shut heaven. That's what the church is there for, to shut heaven from you. That it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters, to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. That's all they do. That's all they do, is to plague and smite the earth as often as they can. And when they have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Wait a minute. I thought Jesus was crucified in Jerusalem. That's not Sodom and Egypt. We got a major problem in the Bible. Or do we? Or do we? Or is this exactly Jerusalem Jerusalem ruled over by the money changers, the money lenders, by the Pharisees of the church? Of course, that's Sodom and Egypt. These demons sodomize everything, including the holy city of Jerusalem. So when they're in charge, it's Sodom and Egypt. Get it? It's an allegory. The Bible is an allegory. Jesus was crucified in a place called Sodom and Egypt because these monsters of the left brain cannot have the Son of Man live. But it's God's creation, and they will always lose and we will always win, because in the murdering of Jesus Christ, he became Christ Jesus, our Savior, and within us for all eternity. They can't help but lose because they play the wrong game. How is Hebrew written? Right to left, backwards. They go counterclockwise, we go clockwise. They do everything counter to what God's creation is. They tell you who they are in always in plain sight. And they and they of the people and kindreds and tongues of nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they shall and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over their dead bodies in the earth, and make merry, and send gifts to one another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. In the same hour there was a great earthquake, and 1/10 part of the city fell, and in earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to God in heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So once again, this is the resurrection of the father and the mother. So what is being said here is that when these demons attempt to take God and Mother Mary from us, when they attempt to take and rape and murder Mother Earth and hide God from us, that they will be risen up into heaven, because they are the pureness, they are the righteousness, and all will see and all will give glory to the Lord. And those that did this shall try and hide. It's what's happening right now. That's exactly what they tried to do. This is exactly what they did, and this is exactly what's happening now. What's happening right now is revelation. Is absolutely this chapter 11. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And what's 11:11? 11:11. After 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into Joseph and Mary, the masculine and the feminine, the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine, and stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. For they were resurrected, because you cannot hold a good man and a good woman down. You can't, ever. And they rose back to their place on either side of the Ark of the Covenant, which are the two temples of our brain. And there they sit. And this is what's at the entrance. This is exactly what's at the entrance to any Freemason temple, by the way. They know these things. They just don't tell you. And so the 7,000 that died, this is again God intervention. 7 is God intervention. So it's just signifying the intervention of God. 15, and the 7th angel sounded. So this is again God intervention. And there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever. And 24 elders. That's interesting that it's expressed that way, right? 24, 24, because it's showing you the mirror image of 42, right? 4 and 20, 420. Gematria, we don't count the 0, that's 42. 4 and 20 is just teaching you to see these numbers in their mirrored form. How does Q post everything? He posts everything in mirrors. You have to mirror everything he says. 11:3 is also 3:11. The election, November 3rd. What day did the pandemic break out? 3/11. It has to. It had to. These are the 6 months apart. This is the separation between heaven and hell. So it's all perfect and it's all in mirrors, and that's why it's mirrored 4 and 20 to show you the mirror of the 24, which is 42, which sat before God on their seats, fell upon their faces and worshiped God, which is what's happening now. 17, 11:17, saying, we give thanks, O Lord God Almighty, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. 18, 11:18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. What else needs to be said? That's the Q team. That's what's happening right now. And that's passages 17 and 18. Q is 17. The operation is the Q team, 17. R, the R post, is written by John F. Kennedy Jr. John F. Kennedy Jr. is 18 in this code. He's 18. He wrote the R post. 17 plus 18 equals 35. President Kennedy was the 35th president of these United States. Donald Trump is Cyrus the Savior, cleansing the swamp just as Cyrus did to Babylon. Cleansing the swamp with the perfect bloodline, and he's the 45th. 35 plus 45 is 80. 8. MAGA. Make America Great Again. MAGA. Make America Great Again. From what John Kennedy started and what Donald Trump finished, we're going to make America great again with magnetism and God. MAGA. Magnetism and the Father. MAGA. 35 and 45 is 80 or 8, which is the scalar wave, which is magnetism. Make America great again. What's the prayer that Donald Trump said in the Oval Office every day that he was president? It was a prayer and a tribute to President Kennedy for the work that he did, the sacrifices that he made to give America this chance to take freedom back. Freedom is Libra, which is the child. What are the three constellations in a row? Leo, Virgo, Libra. This has all been about the children, right? It's all about freedom, which is the child. It's always been about the child. The father and the mother create a pyramid to exalt the child to the capstone above. because they have no ego. Take no thought for your life, and there is no ego in you. Take thought for your life, and you give the dime brain. What's the passage here? About the 10%. 10% of the city fell away. And in that hour, there was a great, this is 13. This is 13, 11, 13. So this is Jesus Christ. And the same hour, there was a great earthquake, and a 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were arighted and gave glory to God in heaven. All that is saying to you, it's all allegory, it's all code. That's saying the left brain fell. God slew 7, God intervention slew the wickedness totaling 7,000, and that all was arighted. When 10th part of the city falls away, all is arighted, because there's no left. The left is 10%. The right is 90%. All was arighted. If that's not the massive clue that you've been looking for to prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is all about your brain, this is all about taking no thought for your life, this is all about destroying the ego so that you stay connected to God in heaven in all times, there's no other great passage. There's no other greater chapter. Did I not tell you that the book of Revelation would blow you away? And we're only in chapter 11. Wow! Did I not tell you that today's show would just be wow?
So much wow.
It's not me. Don't give glory to me. Do not give praise to me. Do not give glory to me. I'm an idiot of myself. But with God, I can be this, which is better than I was. And I like this a heck of a lot more than I did what I was before. Give glory to God. Give praise to God, for all that I have become is only because of God, not me. And Colleen will tell you the same thing. And she's my better half. And she'll tell you the same thing. Praise God by being the burnt offering. You are the lamb at Passover that must lie down before God and let him take you up into heaven. Just like I was saying the other day with our beautiful little kittens and the puppies, they don't have to do anything. We raise them up to our heads, which is heaven, all the time, and we kiss them because they're so beautiful, just laying there on the ground, so pure and so innocent. Stop running around this earth as evil running amok. When evil running amok, the father and the mother will deny you, just as you have denied yourself, for they know you not. Jesus, 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 let me in. Depart from me. I never knew you. You never did the work. You never, ever, ever came to me and let me save you. And now upon your deathbed, no. Go back onto the wheel until you get this right. And you'll hear that message from Jesus 1,000,000 times if necessary until you get this right. Cast thy net to the right, catch 153 fish, 9. Wear the blood of the perfect lamb upon your brow, which is 144, 9. Tune to the right frequency, which is 432 hertz, 9. And 999 is 27. And the mirror of 27 is 72. And that's the second journey, the 3-day fast, the 3 days of taking no thought to prepare you for Lent and Passover. If you can do anything for 72 hours, you can master that for 72 hours, because that's the miracle of the 3 days and the 3 nights in the tomb. Take no thought for your life. That's it for me today. Back over to you two. I love you both.
Just really beautiful, really healing, very exciting. Just so grateful. Look at that dog. Just super grateful to be here and to be able to really heal my relationship to God.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's so powerful, and it's I I don't have much to say. I'm
We
just
really,
relishing. I'm
we
just
love,
relishing.
we love God. We love the story. Crystal.
Yeah, that was amazing. It truly was. All right. Well, I'm gonna let that settle for a bit. Um, this was a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic show today. Truly. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yep. And thanks to God, thanks to Donald Trump, thanks to Melania, thanks to Barron, thank you to John F. Kennedy and Carolyn. Thank you to General Flynn and Lynn Wood and all of these people that have put their good names and reputations on the line to hang out with these weirdos, this weird Q business. And there's Lynn Wood. There's Lynn Wood
So good. I love it.
doing lunatic, but nobody sued him.
Wonder
If
why.
I was, yeah, if I was Mike Pence, I'd be suing Lynn Wood. No lawsuit. So, yeah. Buddha breath, says Ichabod in the chat room. Buddha breath. Buddha breath. Save your life. Save your life. That's how you cast your net to the right. It starts with your food. Absolutely, it starts with your food. And that's why I said to Marie, do not feel bad for saying what you said and doing what you're doing with regard to your kids, and then walking in on a party for kids that is just fucking Pop-Tarts with maple syrup on top. I mean, Jesus. Oh, that is just so wrong. And so, that's debauchery. You called it what it is. Oh, that's so rude. I'm offended. Yeah, because you are rude. I showed you your rudeness and callousness, and now you're offended at you, but you're taking it out on me. Your choice. But Charlie, I don't get many friends this way. But you also don't have any torment this way either.
And I get to be who I was designed to be. I get to be my greatest expression of God, and that it's the tolerance for it. That's what happens. It gets to a certain level where the tolerance, and I think that's where a lot of the passion comes from, because it's like, how do you tolerate killing animals like this? Or how do you tolerate just all of it? We don't have to go back into it. But that's, well, you need to practice tolerance. It's like, no. This is not what we tolerate. We don't tolerate insanity. We rise above insanity, and it doesn't have power over us. That's what this is about. I mean, and that's what this whole movement has been about. And a lot of people have put a lot on the line for this because it's the right thing to do. And that's what's happening in such a big way. And when we go through revelations like this, I mean, wow, for the love, like it just makes so much sense. And so many people are seeing clearly, and we're trying to lead the way, and we can't go back. Like, you can't make us see that we're being intolerant of this. That's not, no, like, we already saw the light, man. Like, we're already on the other side of this thing. We're trying to help you because we love you.
And remember, they're the ones that call junk food, and junk food turns off your DNA. And that's where junk DNA comes from. The horrific food and the horrific thoughts, because you are a frequency. And when you're eating and taking horrible thoughts, horrible foods, horrible thoughts, DNA switches off, and they all food. Truth and plain junk food. Switch off the real you. Switch off the magic you. Switch off the miracles. Switch off God. Have a Dorito. Have a cheesy.
We have to teach the kids how to do it, you know. And we believe in the kids' choices. Obviously, it's not that. It's just we don't want them to choose death. and we have to support them because they're angels and they need us. That's why we're here. We're like, crossroads. We're not the, and take them to the mother, to the real mother every day, is what you said so powerfully. And this whole journey is about returning to the true father and mother so that we can learn who we really are and rise as a family. So much easier that way. It's so much more fun too. I mean, getting pulled back into the craziness is no fun. So it's all here. We're moving forward. It's all happening. Thank the good Lord. There is a story. There is, like Colleen said, like there is a plan. Like there are good people out there that saw this and didn't stand for it and didn't say, well, they're at choice. It's like, well, they're at choice, but we've programmed them to make a big fat effing mess of everything. And we've tricked them in every way possible. And they have a right to reprogram themselves. And that's what this is about, is retraining ourselves to turn to the right and to take back our power and reclaim our future. I mean, things were not pretty. Things are not pretty. And, I just want to say one more thing. I remember when I was young, my parents were really strict. And over the years, they became less and less strict. Like I was the oldest of four. And I think that really speaks to what was happening. Like in the 80s, my parents were really like that. They kept us close to home. They didn't want us, doing all the crazy stuff. Now they got a lot wrong, but they also got a lot right. But it just seems like it got more and more, became more and more tolerant of the insanity. And that's where these last 11, I mean, the last 20 years have just become so insane. And everyone here can agree with that. I mean, no one thinks that this is the way life should be. I mean, this is not the way life should be. Life should be a lot more fun, a lot more playful, a lot more freedom, a lot more happiness. Yeah.
Truly, that's what we're getting back to. That's what we're getting back to. We're getting back to God. All right, guys. Yeah. All right, guys, this was a fantastic episode. Tomorrow we've got Everything Under the Sun with Charlie and Marie at noon Central, and then Friday we've got Q&A with me and Charlie and a host of lovely guests on at 2 p.m. Central. So that's upcoming in the next couple of days. But yeah, this was a fantastic show. Yeah, I feel like I need to go back and watch it now.
Yeah.
So much was unpacked, so much was uncovered. We're gonna keep doing this, and yeah, love you all so much, and so glad that you're here. Charlie, did you have any last comments before we sign off?
Just on the Friday Q&A, Tony will be with us for at least part of the show. So if you've got more food questions, I'm more than happy to hear those as well. So it all starts with the food.
Yep, exactly. And just to clarify, that the questions will largely be coming from those who are on the show. So if you want to be on those shows, there's a sign up link in my link tree. So we want to make sure we prioritize to those who are giving time to hop on the show and to show themselves and to ask questions in person. So you feel free to ask questions in the chat, but we likely won't get to them because we want to make sure we give priority to those who are actually coming on to the show. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And yeah, Tony will be with us for at least the first hour, I think, and we'll make sure that she shares her notes on that, which should be exciting. All right, guys. Well, I love you both dearly. I love you all in the chat. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.